I believe we are starting the stream. Let me check. And
Hi, I believe we are starting the stream. Let me check.
we are okay. Hi, it's Coco is vibing, and today I'm joined with Infinity Plus.
Yeah, what up? It's me. I live.
You were watching Fnaf time.
No, we're watching Walmart. I mean, come on, Walmart is like the best part of William Afton's
Does your
backstory.
internet bill make you anxious? You may be suffering from UPH.
Today
The reason
we end
William
the
Afton
torment.
started killing is because of Wi-Fi.
You know what? I would believe it. Alright, let's continue.
18 books, 11
internet
games,
bill was
8
too high.
whole years, all leading to this moment. The ultimate FNAF timeline is finally complete. The pieces are in place for us. Now all we have to do is put this story of tragedy, jealousy, and loss back together. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that feels like a kid revealing the class project that he's been working on all year. Except here, it's the class project that I've been working on for the past decade of my life. This one is big, my friends, and I gotta admit, kinda nervous. I haven't attempted a timeline video on this franchise since 2018. Back in the days when Mike was the crying child, Afton coming back was actually a surprise, and Fazgoo wasn't a phrase I'd ever thought I'd have to utter. But since the last time I did something like this, we've had 3 more massive games, the death and revival of the FNAF movie, and more robot kids than you can shake a staff bot at. It is exhausting trying to keep track of this whole franchise, which honestly is why I'm here today.
Would you shake a Matt bot at MatPat?
I mean, I attempted to do so in the game, I think. No, wait, I don't think that video's out. I didn't say that.
Coco, you're giving spoilers for your own channel.
I don't remember. I'm actually thinking of doing a reaction video to that eventually.
What, a reaction video to your own Let's Play?
Yeah. Hey guys, so last year I didn't finish this. That was 2 years ago, actually. No, yeah. It was Christmas of 2020.
Oh my gosh, yeah! We just need to make a documentary that is like the life and times of Security Breach.
The amount of times I failed or struggled, which happened more often than I thought.
The laundry room.
No, please.
It is full of speculation and theory, so to hopefully make it a little easier for everyone and to give us all a baseline to talk about this franchise moving forward into the future, it's time to reveal my current working FNAF
I hate
timeline.
the future.
But just before I do, I just want to explain a couple of things. First, this timeline is massive.
I hate the future.
Seriously, it is huge. This thing towers over any video project we have ever done on the channel. But when you look at the totality of this franchise, the story of FNAF really boils down to the story of one man, William Afton. His successes, his failures, his rise to becoming co-owner of one of the most successful restaurant franchises in the world, and his eventual fall to the monsters he helped to create, only to then be reborn in a new digital form later. That's why I've decided to split this timeline into 3 main chunks. The foundation of Freddy's, how the business started and how it came into being, the Afton era, William's decades-long murder spree, and post-Purple Guy. Basically modern FNAF, everything that happens after the pizzeria simulator fight. And because there are lots of big revelations in this thing that seemingly come out of nowhere, as well as just points I want to talk about further, I decided to dedicate 1 episode to each chunk. I originally wanted it to be one seamless, continuous video, but it just felt incomplete without some sort of explanation at the end of each one. Once this whole thing's done, I promise I'm gonna merge all the narrative bits into one massive video so you can just skip my explanations. But for now, this just felt like the best, most satisfying, most complete way to do this. That being said, this is still about the story, the broad strokes of the franchise. So in order to make sure that you guys know that I'm not just pulling answers out of thin air, not only am I discussing some of the more controversial bits at the end of each chunk, we're also putting in a handy little graphic in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, which will show thumbnails, video titles, books, and any other citations that we need throughout the video. So if you wish to understand that specific statement in more detail, you know exactly where we've taken it from. That way you can look into those
I haven't read the second one.
So
I've read the first one.
Grab some popcorn or your pitchforks if you're the type to get upset when I say something controversial, and make sure that you subscribe, since this is going to be a video that you're going to want to come back back to a few times in order to fully
Dum-dums.
dissect. Without
That's
any
close
more
enough.
waiting, I present to you the
I have
story of a
water.
loving, obsessive father who slowly descended into madness and along the way discovered the secret to eternal life.
I don't like that pose. I don't know.
Our
There's
story
just
just
begins
doing a
not in
something.
the
silly pose.
1980s or even in the 1970s, but all the way back in the 1930s.
Oh.
It was the throes of the Great Depression, and people were in desperate need of cheap entertainment, especially in Utah, one of the
Not
states hit
Utah.
hardest, fourth highest unemployment in the nation, and full of transients. People looking
I
for
hate
work in Salt
Utah.
Lake, finding none, and ultimately moving on to find their fortunes out in California. People were tired and they were hungry, but as they traveled, there was one thing that could lift their spirits: a simple roadside attraction called Fredbear's Singin' Show. The ads were plastered all over town, featuring an animated bear
heck
drawn in the
nah.
popular pie-eyed cartoon style for characters at the time. He resembled cartoons like Mickey Mouse, Felix the Cat, Betty Boop. It immediately said that this, Fredbear's, was a place where you could bring the family. And the price, honestly, couldn't be beat. For 50 cents, you could get food and entertainment as you watched the local trained real-life dancing bear
Aw.
perform on stage. Normally, you only got to see
But
dancing
bears are
bears at
extinct.
large traveling circuses like Barnum and Bailey.
They
where
weren't
tickets would go
extinct in
for
the
about
30s.
$1. That's $1 without food. But this was a smaller show, like the type from the Von Brothers or the Robbins Brothers, where tickets would sell for just a mere 50 cents. Watching that bear do tricks on stage brought a glimmer of joy at a time
like
when
its
so much
dance.
was wrong with the world. The
Reminds
simple
me of,
show
like, a
would go on for
sun-kissed
years,
thing.
bringing happiness to hundreds
Yeah,
of travelers.
this is
passing
what
through
happens
looking for
when
a
you
quick
give
meal.
the
But it
bear
left a
weed instead of
permanent
cocaine.
impression on one little boy, capturing his
No.
imagination in a way that nothing else had. One little boy named Billy. That was his nickname at least, but his parents liked to call him William. William Afton. The bear could dance,
Billy
could
Afton.
sing. For
Okay, how do you get Willie from William? Billy from William. How does that work? Explain.
Well, you see,
Billy from William.
and then you don't see.
But what if? And
No,
then, but like, yes.
because the story.
Was too much to handle.
And so, the world fell to ashes because of Weed Bear.
Is this what we're working with today?
Yep. Unfortunately, Hillary Clinton retired from the Soviet Union, so I can't use her as comedy anymore.
No one knows what that means.
decades,
We'll
William dreamed of
find out
recreating that moment of bringing the musical bear
I'm
to
not
life,
posting
but
that.
William was smart, without a doubt, and he had a keen mind for business, but he wasn't
To anyone that watches this, anybody, I promise it was about Mandela Catalog. It's
Hack into their computer with wireless oxygen. Find it out yourself.
don't do it. Don't go too deep.
most creative. How do you make a singing, dancing bear
But I
come
want to
life?
be with
The best
old
he
man
could do was
consequences.
using rudimentary
No.
costumes. William was inspired by the work of Walt Disney,
Yeah.
who throughout the 50s and 60s was pioneering the use of mascot suits throughout his theme park. The big
Which were
innovation,
horrific.
Suits with 5 fingers. This allowed
Incredibly
performers wearing the suits to
horrific.
use their natural arms and hands to interact with the guests, as opposed to the older models
Imagine
where the arms
doing
would
that.
just hang limply by their sides. Finally, with a simple mascot suit, he would be able to realize his childhood dream. He would be able to bring Fredbear to life. To appeal to the kids, and for copyright reasons, he changed Fredbear from a realistic brown animal to a cartoonish yellow bear with a purple hat
I
and bow
hate
tie.
copyright.
But feeling like one character wasn't enough, he added another friend.
I want
a
my
yellow
rights to be
rabbit with
copied.
a purple vest and matching tie named Bonnie the Bunny. While Fredbear was certainly his first love, Bonnie was extra special because that was his. It was an original character that he had
Yo,
created
he's an
from
OC
scratch, and I
furry.
do mean scratch. William's hand-sewn costumes were rough with seams and stitches visibly showing, but it was the best that he
This
could
is
do. You know
William's
what? It was just enough.
DeviantArt
Bonnie and
character.
Fredbear would perform
Do
on
not
stage to
feel.
small but enthusiastic
Oh,
crowds.
stars.
Finally, he was able to deliver fantasy and fun to all the kids, delighting and inspiring them in the exact way that he had been delighted and inspired so many years ago. And things could have ended there. That could have been the end to his story. It could have been perfect had it not been for one thing.
Just Discover.com. It's what drove him insane.
If not for one thing, YouTube Premium.
I'm not paying for YouTube Premium. You can't make me. Jeff Goldblum. I forget about him so often.
everything you have will go away. You have no self-respect, but that can change the day. Now's your chance to be a big
Other
shot.
people saw the success of his idea and they wanted in. Enter Chica's Party World, a rival restaurant starring performing animal characters. His idea, except
Oh
they did it
no.
better. William may have
That's
been
rude.
first, but obviously he wasn't the best. It hurt the prideful William Afton to admit it, but this restaurant was able to do the thing that he always
William
wanted to
sadness.
do, make the animals actually come to life. All of the performers in this restaurant were robots, simple metal skeletons that were powered by battery packs, but all of them able to freely turn and talk and dance on their own, no human required. It was like magic that came from the mind of a brilliant creator named Henry Emily. This Henry, in some small way, had been able to harness the power of life itself.
I like
Afton
his
admired.
beard.
He was jealous.
I like his eyes.
Also looked upon this man with awe. Off to one side of Chica's Party World was a small
He's a
cabaret
great
stage
eye.
featuring an elephant magician. On the other, a hippo known to ramble on and on.
It's the guy.
It's the man. The myth. The legend.
He's a hippo, not a man.
That one was
Know your
for the
species.
parents, but it was the main stage that was for the kids.
I love
A rocking
Hippo
band
Man.
of characters featuring a yellow chicken thing with a southern drawl named Chica, backed by a band of
Chicken
other
thing.
country-themed characters, including a pig with a banjo, an upbeat frog from the local swimming hole, and a brown bear with a heavy southern accent. Wait, a bear? But bears were his animals. Why not a cow or a horse? Something to fit the country theme a bit better. Why did it have to be a bear? And adding insult to injury, they had the nerve to call this thing Ned Bear, a direct copy of his own Fred Bear.
Oh.
That's gonna leave him alone.
No, that was not okay. Afton's jealous admiration turned to hardened bitterness. A bitterness that would only grow over the next couple of years as families continued to choose Chica's Party World over Fred Bear's. William just couldn't compete with the appeal of the robots. Eventually, his restaurant would go bankrupt, only to get bailed out by, of course, Henry Emily. Another insult,
What a
another
nerd.
humiliation that William wouldn't soon forget. 1979. Despite being bitter, Afton couldn't deny that what came next was a period of massive success and expansion. With the two franchises now merged into one, it was the best of both worlds. Afton's ideas with Henry's robotic expertise. The two men decided to launch under a new name, Fredbear's Family Diner, a pizza chain that would eventually come to feature a mix of humans in performing suits as well as on-stage animatronics. They decided to stick with Fredbear as the headliner, considering the yellow bear was easily identifiable as a brand because he was the original performing animal mascot. Afton appreciated that. This new restaurant would also see a mix of characters as the two franchises merged into one, with Pig Patch and Happy Frog performing right alongside Fredbear and Bonnie. And as part of this one big Fredbear family, they even got themselves official merch that were released, ranging from masks to magnets.
I like how just glitch cap is there. Great.
That said, not all the characters were winners. The reception to some characters was just mediocre, so they faded away into the dumpster, storage units, and
Oh,
budget
plus
stores
ratio.
of lost nostalgia, waiting for their chance to step
Plus
back into the
Mr.
limelight
Hippo
if and
rant
when a
forever.
headliner went out of business. Others, though, would fare much better, like a new Pirate Fox, as well as a blue guitar-playing variant of the yellow Bonnie Bunny. Ultimately, the franchise would get so big, it would spawn its own cartoon show, Fredbear and Friends. Business was
I loved
booming.
watching
In the
that
end,
show. It's
Fredbear and
good.
Bonnie's popularity would be so
I haven't seen
strong
it yet.
they would be
No
able to
spoil.
Fredbear's Family Diner franchise all on their own, while also
The
spinning off a
anime
new sister
adaptation
location
was
dedicated
even
to their
better.
friends. In 1983, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza launched, giving a dedicated home to all this new supporting cast of characters: Chica the Chicken, Bonnie the Blue Bunny, Foxy the Pirate, and of course the Henry.
He's not blue, he's purple.
Actually, he's Aqua.
No, he's not.
Okay, okay, sorry. He's Denim.
Look at that, and then look at that. That is a purple. That's not what I
Yeah,
want.
that's purple. But Bonnie, they ran out of purple paint, so they decided to just like fabricate him out of pairs of jeans. That's why he's Denim.
What color is a Bonnie the bunny? If they say he's blue, indigo. He's indigo. I can work with indigo.
Yeah, and I'm sticking to Denim because that's good.
Headliner,
Oh my gosh.
Freddy Fazbear. Business was good, and
Correct.
Afton was happy, mostly. It did bother him that the one original character that he created, the one that he himself played, Golden Bonnie, got passed over for inclusion in that cartoon show. The only character in the roster of regulars to get ignored but other than that, things were going smoothly. He had himself a wife, 2 sons, a daughter, he had a thriving business, and best of all, he was able to learn the craft of robotics from the man that he both loved and hated.
I want to use those William expressions as emotes.
Make 'em, you won't.
Constantly pushing the limits of what these characters could do. Because it was quick and easy, new characters introduced into the roster would be given a simple hand-sewn suit with 5 fingers that any performer could wear. Eventually, Henry would design one of his signature animatronics for that character, utilizing a divided mouth with either a hinged or sliding jaw design.
I have a challenge.
No thanks.
Mr. Beast animatronics,
This
my favorite.
You know what? I would watch a Hey guys, it's surviving 30 days in an animatronic suit. Now, as you know, don't make a lot of rapid movements or it will close in on you. Let's begin.
Also, please ignore all the little mini arenas trying to climb inside your skin. That's normal.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Very, very normal.
Jamie, please stop screaming or else you will be disqualified.
Chris is out. Sadness.
Ah, well, we can harvest his soul for later.
Yippee! Hey guys, welcome back to the next Fnaf game of Five Nights at Mr. Beast's. I feel like that's a thing already.
Hold on.
Oh, stars.
Oh, we got a game jolt game. Five Nights at Mr. Beast. Only one version, and it's a demo released 4 days ago.
Yo, alright guys, come back in like a week or so, or whenever the demo is not a demo.
When the demo is demoing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We still have like another 2 hours.
Stop there. Afton had big ideas. What if the animatronics weren't just locked to the stage, but could freely roam the restaurant and interact with the kids? What if his mascot suits could become animatronics? What if you could use more than just rigid metallic skeletons? Why not experiment with tubes and wires that would give the animatronics fluidity and flexibility while still providing structure? The possibilities for this technology were
Okay, I'm just saying, that microphone Freddy's holding is very shiny, and I feel like you don't get to see the shininess in the game.
endless. Afton fell in love with robotics. He had started with a dream of bringing one simple system to life.
It doubles as
tools that gave him the ability
a mirror.
to control.
He
Yo,
uses it to get himself ready.
bet.
Life itself. And thanks to Henry, he was practically speedrunning his way to an engineering degree. And while William wouldn't admit it out loud, one other thing that kept pushing him forward was the desire to beat his former rival, to prove himself smarter and more capable, to surpass the man who everyone else considered to be a visionary genius. But pride cometh before the fall, and tragedy was about to strike. Okay, so that brings us to the end of part 1 of the story.
Not
That said, at the end of
tragedy.
each of these chunks, I want to break down some of the logical leaps that I made, since the more narrative format doesn't give me much of a chance to justify a lot of the big decisions. And admittedly, there are some large leaps in here. Let's just start off with Fredbear's Singing Show, shall we?
Just a
We know,
couple.
based on the retro poster that was hidden in Security Breach, that at least at one point, Fredbear
Actually,
was an
forget about
actual
Security
bear.
Breach.
And like I called out in that narrative segment, dancing bear shows
How
were
could you
a
forget
real
about
form of entertainment.
the
only
greatest
problem is
game
that
ever
timing-wise,
created
none of our
ever.
main characters would be the people in charge of that business in the 30s and a series of pizza restaurants in the 80s without them just being extremely old. Best case scenario, if Afton's running the Singing Show when he's 18, that still puts him at nearly 70 when the first pizzeria opens and his murder spree begins. That just doesn't make a lot of logical sense because he doesn't become immortal until his first death in Springtrap. That's why I suspect that Fredbear's Singing Show
I like
is
how that's
either
just
a
a
family
casual
business that Afton
sentence.
carried on to a new generation, or something that he saw as a kid and just wanted to recreate when he grew up. The Fredbear Singing Show thing also starts laying the groundwork for some of the core elements of the story, that Freddy's was a place of fantasy and fun, and that Afton, despite eventually falling to become the heartless serial killer and mad scientist that we know him as, began as someone with good intentions and a love of entertaining kids. He wanted to bring things to life from the very beginning, a theme that recurs a lot for him throughout the rest of the franchise. Next up, let's talk about those mascot costumes. One thing that I keep witch trap. It's a handcrafted suit. You can see the seams and everything. It even has 5 fingers for the performer's hands. It is very much not a Springtrap suit. This is something much more rudimentary. It came at a time before animatronics were a part of the story. That's why I suspect that it was actually the first, predating literally everything. It's also a suit that is very personal to Afton. He put his digital consciousness in that form. It's his personal avatar. It's the way he sees himself.
Hey guys, it's William Afton. Today we are playing VR chat. As you can see, I made this beautiful avatar.
Five Nights at Freddy's with the AI is self-aware.
Hey yo, that's Hope Wanted, coming this fall. Stay tuned for that gameplay.
Aw, heck yeah.
I own it. I bought a VR headset just for it. I haven't played it. It's been 4 months. We'll get to it eventually.
There's
Someday.
also a whole separate discussion to be had here about the habits and rituals of serial killers. So the fact that he's choosing to lure kids and kill them in this particular suit actually says a lot about his emotional.
Hey guys, you wanna come play games on my phone?
To have started as someone else's creation, Golden Bonnie was uniquely Williams, giving him a personal connection.
Would you like to play,
in this whole franchise, only one set of
Angry Bird?
Which one? Is it Star Wars?
Angry Bird Star Wars 2.
I want first one.
characters have themselves
Okay.
5 fingers, the nightmares. Even Golden Freddy, Fredbear, was a 5-fingered
Not the
wearable
nightmare.
suit at one point in the story, as we see in this shot from the graphic novel, before he, like everyone else, was turned into an animatronic. This seems to imply that all of the main characters had similar wearable mascot outfits at least at one point in time.
That seems so cursed.
All of the main characters had similar...
I don't like that. They don't look good. No, I think it's the face. The face ruins it.
I like Chica's double mouth.
I don't know, it just...
wearable mascot outfits at least at
She's
one
going
point
to
in
kiss
time,
you.
and that whoever is having Fnaf 4 nightmares, if they even are nightmares, something that we'll touch on in part 2, saw those mascot suits specifically. Lastly, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The literal elephant, Orville Elephant, as well as the rest of the mediocre melodies. For a while now, I've suspected that the mediocre melodies played a much more important role in the story than just being a bunch more animatronics to fill out the roster. Especially Ned Bear, which is just so suspiciously close to Fredbear. And yet, there are 2
I
key
never
details
noticed
we're gonna have
that.
to justify with any mediocre melodies
Ned
mentioned.
Bear is
One, they're
sussy.
very rudimentary with
Don't
external
ever
advertising,
say that.
implying that they come very early in the timeline.
Ned Bear
And
is
2, we
sussy.
know that at minimum, Mr. Hippo does eventually become an official member of the extended Freddyverse. But if these things are supposed to be cheap, generic rip-offs, why would you be trying to rip off yourself?
The Freddy
You wouldn't. You would
Cinematic
be stealing
Universe.
someone else's ideas. So if Afton created Fredbear, there would have to be some rival franchise. The only other person who would likely be ripping him off, Henry. We've talked extensively about how the mediocre melodies are clearly Henry's design aesthetic. So it just has to be him. I don't think Henry's doing this maliciously. He doesn't strike me as the type. He was likely building the robots at the orders of someone else that was running a rival restaurant franchise. But that's enough motivation to start Afton down a path of jealous rivalry, but also begrudging admiration. As the Freddy Files Ultimate Edition says, it's important to revisit the beginning of Henry and William's relationship, so here you go. I think this is where it begins.
I own that
So, this
book.
is future Matt Pat here coming back to add this one in. Seems like the
That
recently
was a pretty
released
good book.
character
I
encyclopedia
never
has
read it, but I
backed up
think it's pretty
all
good.
of this speculation.
It's like
I've had this timeline written for
1984.
about a month now, but I've also been holding off a bit to
Except
see what wrenches this
in the
character
90s.
encyclopedia might throw into it. And on this particular point, I gotta say, it seems like we might actually have nailed it. They actively call out the suspicious similarities to the main Fredbear crew. Quote from one.
Stop! Right there!
This is the Ned Bear redesign for the reboot.
This is Wakanda forever.
One of the pages. Ned Bear looks like
The
an
D&D
imitation
movie
altered
too.
just enough to avoid.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know about you, but that seems to imply that we were right on the money. Knowing all of this, at one point the franchises had to have merged. That's really the only way that you get Mr. Hippo from the rival franchise as part of the Fazbear crew. This also mirrors a lot of what happened in the real-life history of Chuck E. Cheese, with 2 rival restaurants, each with their own casts of characters, merging to become one unified brand. Again, we've gone
I
into
can't
that
believe
in
they
detail in
stole
other
plot
videos,
points
just
from
wanted to
Chuck E.
remind you
Cheese
all of that
lore.
here. But why would I call out the
I
rival
can.
restaurant as being named Chica's Party World? Few things
7.
location named Chica's Party World exists.
14.
It is mentioned in the source code teasing sister location.
Oh
So
yeah, I
it is
forgot
in
about
there
that.
somewhere and doesn't fit cleanly anywhere. Second, in the story The Puppet Carver, Chica is very explicitly looped in with the book versions of Pig Patch and Ned Bear, implying that she started as a mediocre melody. Thirdly, her
Oh.
design just fits better with the theme of down home country animals with southern
Estimate.
accents, playing the banjo and eating with bibs. And with her being the headliner of the show with her name on the restaurant, it would make sense then that when the restaurants merged, she was the one that was added to the main cast of characters while all the other mediocres faded away. It's also why when Freddy's closes after William's killing spree, she's the one to branch back off into her old franchise and is therefore missing in sister location, a detail that's bothered me for years at this point. It might also explain why William
Holy
decided to stuff
crap.
his first dead kid into Chica. That one was Henry's creation, not his. Is all of this a big leap? Yeah. Is it connecting a lot of dots that are
It's
very
fine if
spread
it's
out
not
across the
mine.
franchise that I've been holding on in the back of my mind for years?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
If
But
it's
I
not
think
my
it makes
problem,
sense.
it's not
It
my
also serves
problem.
as a clean answer to a lot of the random
It's not my
threads that
fault I
Scott's
killed
been
the
leaving
kid if I
dangling
stuff it
for
into a chicken.
years. So with all of that in mind, my friends, we can close the book on the foundation of Freddy's. And don't worry, next week I'll be back to give you arguably one of the most confusing parts of this entire timeline situation, Part 2, the Afton era. I promise, it will actually be next week this time. No more waiting around. I am just as eager to get this one out the door as you are to watch it. I promise. You know what else I promise? I promise that we'll actually get to talking about the games. I would have liked to have talked about them in this episode, but there just isn't that much in the games that helps us depict anything pre-Family Diner. Although, let's be honest, this franchise has never been
Aren't
just
you ready
about
to
the
watch
games
the next
anyway. Even back
episode?
in the early days
Yeah.
of Fnaf, we were decoding images and source
Are you?
code that Scott
You
fed us
sound
through
so
the website.
happy.
The modern day books and the clues that we get from those things, now they're just modern extensions of that. All of it is crucial to understanding this franchise.
Man, I want that
Unless, of course,
animatronic
Steel
in
Wool
the
finally
game.
gets around to making
That's-
that Fredbear's Family Diner game they want to make so
She looks
badly.
cool.
Yes.
Way cooler than Phantom
I don't
Chica.
think we'll ever be able to do this, but getting back to kind of like the origin of like that rendition and the origin of Freddy Fazbear.
But in the meantime, while we wait for that inevitably cryptic game, I hope that this start to the timeline helps to fill in some of those gaps. I'm excited to share part 2 with you next week. If you haven't subscribed and rang the bell, make sure you do it now so you're notified when that part drops. I cannot wait to...
Alright, we're just gonna skip on through.
Hey you!
No.
Valorant, hang on.
Don't you want to play something different? Bring it up!
Alright guys,
No,
we're
I
actually...
do not wish to play Valorant. No. No, do not take me to Valorant. Take me out of the Valorant dimension.
I like Valorant.
Hello, Internet!
Hey, guys.
Intolerant of Valorant.
Hey guys, welcome back. Hello internet, welcome to Valorant, and officially page 7 of the Coco is
Hey
5 in
y'all,
timeline.
welcome back to Baba Is You, where today, Page is 7 and Fnaf is script.
That was actually really good. I didn't record Baba. I haven't played Baba in like 2 months.
Officially page
Maybe you
7
should
of
play
the
The
FNAF
Legend of
timeline
Zelbaba.
script. Last time we covered the
I would.
origins
I
of
would.
Freddy's. We talked about William Afton's childhood dream of making a second bear come to
I'm
life.
sorry, but that bear is just too beautiful. I wish that was in
I love
Cocaine Bear.
Heroin Bear.
I kind of wish I saw Cocaine Bear. It
I
looks...
never saw it either, don't worry.
You wouldn't. I feel like that would be a movie. You watched Us, but not. I still can't believe that I basically turned a Mandela Kellogg into Us.
Literally. This is just the tethered now. It's just like they're both alternates. They both come out to kill the other. It's just alright, we're getting off topic.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
actually, this is not about FNAF. This is actually about Mandela Kellogg.
You see that bear? That is either a wood crawler or an alternate. One of the two.
Or a skin crawler, a bear crawler.
Yeah.
Infuriating moment that his dream is copied by a rival restaurant franchise looking to steal away his success. The merger of the two franchises.
That was a
results in
really big
William
cupcake
meeting
she
Henry,
had.
a brilliant designer with a knack for
I know.
robotics. Working together, they make
bigger than her
Fredbear's
head.
flourish, spawning popular
I would eat
Saturday
it.
morning cartoon shows, toy lines, and
Okay.
spin-off restaurants under the Fazbear name. When last we left
So
it,
would I.
Afton was thriving. The world of
Her head?
robotics opening his eyes to new and exciting ways
Yeah.
of bringing characters
Kitty.
bringing things to life. Yeah, that was his core driving force.
Oh, look at him.
And it
He's
was
so
this very
happy.
passion that would mutate, twist,
He is
and
a happy
morph
man.
from here on out in the story.
Oh,
Because
never
before
mind.
He is a very
there was
happy man.
inevitably death, something that Afton would become intimately familiar with. But before Afton acquaints himself with
Intimately
death, I want
familiar.
you to take some time to acquaint yourself with our newest
Oh,
channel.
come
This is
on.
a huge moment for us theorists. For the last decade, we've had this 4-player controller
Before
icon, and now
Acton
we
goes on a
finally
murder
fill in the
spree,
final
how about you
missing
acquaint
piece.
yourself
Get
with our
ready
new
for the
channel?
rollout of our new eyes and half
Sorry,
truths in the
guys.
fashion
We're not.
industry that there needs to be someone out there to say,
Actually.
hey,
We do
this is
not
right, this
want
is
to
wrong,
know how
this
to
is what
dress.
science says. Also, you know, we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, because someone just wears Crocs. One of us.
I
Just.
know, right?
I do wear Crocs.
Two,
So.
things are about to get dark in a
Yeah, I
hurry.
mean, who would ever wear Crocs every day of their life because they refuse to put on
1983,
tennis
business
shoes?
was booming with 2 whole restaurant
William
franchises
Afton.
running. Fredbear's Family Diner and the newly opened Freddy
Oh yeah, I
Fazbear's
forgot
Pizza.
a little
Together,
bit was
William and
William
Henry had been
Afton.
able to take the hide-and-seek idea and make it into a reality. They called their new invention the Springlock suit, and fittingly enough, it was symbolic of the partnership between these two men. A human suit as designed by William that could become a freestanding Henry-style robot. But because it was still new tech with kinks to work out, the rollout was limited, restricted only to the Fredbear's Family Diner location. All of this meant that William was busier than ever. He didn't have time to be a full-time
If there
parent,
was
so he
a
designed a
Springlock
nanny.
suit that just had like a spring sticking out of it, I would not put that thing on for the life of me.
Not even for 20 dum-dums.
Make it 21 and we have a deal.
22.
22, that's too much. You'll spoil my appetite.
Alright, 21.
System where cameras and speakers were hidden throughout the neighborhood, as well as in his youngest son's favorite toy, Psychic Friend Fredbear.
Does he sing?
Plushie Fredbear.
Please.
But since
He
cameras
No.
he's here, he's there, he's everywhere.
Who you gonna call?
Psychic Fred Bear.
just weren't enough to raise a kid, he also left childcare duties to his eldest son, Michael. There was just one problem with that. Michael was far from the best babysitter. He tormented his younger brother by jump scaring him with a
Boo.
Foxy mask.
He's a great
Constantly left him
babysitter.
behind.
Don't
William watched
disrespect
all
him.
of it from
You know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and he's just trying to get him to go over his fear.
Yeah, but then he did kill him, and that's kind of cringe.
It's just a prank, bro.
Yeah.
his cameras. Kids would be kids. Tomorrow was another day, after all. Except Michael's torment didn't stop. Bitter, angry thoughts would run through Michael's mind. Why did he have to be the one to take care of this whining crybaby all the time? It just wasn't fair. It was time that he got even with his brother by playing the ultimate prank. A prank that just so happened to be on
The
his
ultimate
crying
trolling.
child's birthday. He and his friends would take his scared
Are you gonna
little
do this
brother
to
and
me?
make him do the one thing that he was terrified
Yes.
of doing. Getting close to
Yippee!
the
What a birthday
animatronics.
gift.
That would be embarrassing for the kid that was such an embarrassment to him. His brother squirmed, screamed, kicked, and fought, but just as they were putting that smallest squirming boy up to Fredbear's lips, the mouth snapped shut. The sensitive spring locks inside the body had been triggered by the boy's movements.
Oops.
They'd immediately clamped down. The wriggling stopped. The boy went limp.
That's
It was
a
just
troll.
prank. It was meant to be funny. The boy was taken to the hospital and was immediately given an IV. Flowers and pills filled the nightstand next to his hospital bed, but the damage was too severe. He couldn't recover. As the younger brother's consciousness began to fade, he could hear Michael's last words, a small and flimsy apology.
I'm
His father,
sorry,
Williams, through
ooh.
the voice of the Fredbear plush, were a
What a
firm and committed
sadness.
promise to a
Mhm.
dying son. You're broken. I will put you back together. This would not be the end. No matter what, William's son would live again. It would just take time. Time that, right now, he just didn't have. His young son's heart flatlined as the boy faded into the
Eh.
I-
unknown afterlife. In the aftermath of the tragedy,
Yo, he
changes
went to
started
Bending in
happening
the
around
Ink
the
machine.
restaurants. Kids were required to wear security wristbands to prevent anyone from getting outside without parental permission. Any kid who approached the exit without permission would have to answer to the security puppet, a marionette on strings that could fly around on rails across the restaurant to stop kids in their
Whee!
tracks. It was William's idea, inspired
Wait,
by Michael
hold on.
constantly
I
leaving
just need to point out the logic in this. So, an animatronic kills your kid. The solution you find to that is to make another animatronic that can chase down kids.
I mean, yeah, obviously, it's like GLaDOS, but not trying to murder. It's a good GLaDOS. Happy GLaDOS.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, duh. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Anyway, shall we continue? Yes, we shall.
the
Yes,
restaurant
yes,
without
we
his
should.
brother. In the wake of Fredbear's spring lock failure, all the hybrid suits were getting retired, locked away at the nearby Freddy Fazbear location.
I love the
It was yet
spring
another
bunny
tough
stare.
pill to swallow
So
Like-
goofy.
I like his eyes.
after all the hard work that
Yeah,
he and
his
Henry
eyes
put into
are
them. William would eventually
incredible.
bury the boy's small body in a remote location out in the woods right alongside his drive into and out of work every day. The death of this little boy sent the family spiraling. His wife, crippled with grief, was so distraught that all she could do was sit and watch TV. But his son Michael was far worse, complaining of seeing
And she also
hallucinations
became
of a golden
bald.
bear
Don't
standing
forget that.
outside of his window. The boy was so racked with guilt
why
that he was
Ballora has
convinced that
great
he was
hair.
being haunted by the ghost of his
Exactly.
brother stuck inside the suit that took his life. The suit's three-toed feet digging into the wet earth. The words, "It's me," ringing through Michael's ears. Some nights, Michael would even go so far as to break out of his room to check the gravesite and ensure that his brother was still there.
Hey, do you want to create a server so that you don't die?
Hell nah. They uploaded Michael into Minecraft.
Oh no. That's what happens when you die.
As for William himself, he disappeared into his work
You
and his
respawn on
drinks.
a new world,
Junior's, the
see?
local bar, wasn't far from his son's gravesite. He found himself going there more and more frequently, spending longer and longer amounts of time there. The bar gave him a place to think, to remember, to reflect and stew on how Henry had stolen his idea for an
heck nah,
animal-themed
he's
restaurant. How
sad.
they'd cut his
Oh, no,
character
he's
out of the
drinking his
cartoon when
problems away.
everyone else was there. How Henry had humiliated him by
he
buying
just
him out of
like me for
bankruptcy.
real.
And now there was his son. Henry had
You with
taken
your
his
appy
son from him.
juice?
The robotic part was the part that failed after all.
Me
William
casually
ordered one more
drinking
drink,
12
but it was
glasses
one
of
too many.
water.
The bar turned him out and told him to go home. But William didn't go home. Drunk and angry, William raced back to the restaurant to give Henry a piece of his mind, only to find someone else waiting. Henry's daughter, Charlie, locked outside of the building, bullies laughing at her through the window.
Oh,
Fine, some other
spaghetti-o.
problem to fix. But then Afton got an idea, a beautifully awful idea. This was his chance to
heck
get
nah,
back at the
he's
man
the
that
Grinch.
had humiliated him all those years ago. Henry had killed his business, and now Henry's
That looks like a
robotic suit had
creepypasta,
killed his
Henry.
son. It was time for William to do some killing of his own. Let
And
Henry
then
feel what it's like to have
it-
something you
it-
love. get
Henry
ripped away.
came out
While
and
parties
started crying
continued inside the walls of the
hyper-realistic blood.
pizzeria, William
And then he threw up blood, and then he died.
And then the game crashed, and then I turned around, and then there was a plush of Mr. Hippo with red eyes and a knife charging towards me.
But then Superman broke through the window and he saved me, dropkicking the Mr. Hippo plush. But he got stabbed by the knife, which had kryptonite on it.
Carbonite.
Carbonite kryptonite on it. And so Superman died, and then Mr. Hippo just looked at me.
And then Darth Vader came in and took Superman and started slapping Mr. Hippo with his leg. And then Mr. Hippo exploded.
And then I just got cut by the knife on the arm, and then I went back to playing Roblox with my e-boyfriend.
I got super mad at Scott Cawthon and got a refund on Pizzeria Simulator.
But then Scott Coffin sued me, and I lost 3 pennies.
I got so mad, I mailed Mr. Hippo to his house. That I was showing.
And then I broke out at the simulation, and then I told them GG no re, and I gave it a 1-star review, and the earth broke. The end.
Yo, it's just like that one B TikTok. For real, for real.
That was great.
attacked Charlie in the back.
Go,
alley. He
kitty,
felt
go,
good. He
kitty,
felt
go,
free.
kitty,
The
go.
years of resentment and bitterness trapped in his
heck
heart
nah,
finally
murder gave
released
him
in a
sleep
moment of pure,
deprivation.
unapologetic evil.
bet
He
he also
would
did.
make Henry hurt like he hurts. And in that moment, William became a killer. He dropped Charlie's lifeless body and drove home.
Alternate
Forced to confront his
William
family
is
problems later
William.
that night, appalled but also a little excited by what he had just done. Charlie's death would remain on the books as a random act of violence. And though Henry had suspicions about William,
Just a
there was
little
no
trolling.
physical evidence, nothing that could link him back to the crime. In the weeks that followed, Fredbear's Family
Just a
Diner would
silly
close
little
for
guy.
good. Two
Oh, I have that
high-profile
book.
deaths around the restaurant with two
comic.
grieving owners in such a short period of time was just too
I
much
love
bad
the
press
com.
to handle. Besides, Freddy Fazbear's
Communist?
was still open, and it was the
Yes.
newer restaurant anyway. All the equipment from the diner,
Heck
including
yeah,
the old yellow
new
suits and
Super
security
Freddy
puppet, would
Fazbear.
get retired to that location, and there they would sit for 2 uneventful years. The rest of 1983 and 1984 were spent quietly grieving. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and the new cast of characters were a hit. Tragic memories of their yellow predecessors quickly faded. Afton kept a low profile and buried himself in work and research, quickly reaching Henry's level of engineering and even surpassing him. And while Henry slowed down to grieve, Afton kept going, even starting his own company, Afton Robotics, for all those
Hell, not
products that
Afton
were a little
turned
bit
red.
too experimental
He's
for
now
the
a red
regular
guy.
operations of the pizzeria. The first of these experimental projects was a secret workshop under his house, a veritable bunker, which allowed him to work while still monitoring his kids via hidden security cameras. 1983. A passcode that served as a constant reminder of why the cameras were so important, why he was down there in the first place. This was all to fulfill the promise that he had made to his son, right? I will put you back together.
Actually, don't hate
This was
William
for
so
him.
far.
All for him, right? The
Yeah,
cameras weren't
William
enough.
just
He
murdered
needed to
one
solve the
kid.
runaway
He's
Michael
still good.
problem. He had to
He's
keep
just
him
trying
in
to
the house.
avenge
He
his
couldn't
son.
have another one of his kids
I know,
wind up
he's
dead
trying
inside
his
of
best.
an animatronic suit. So why not run a little experiment on Michael? You see, all this work with Henry had gotten Afton to start learning more about life, robots, the human mind, and what a fallible machine we as humans were. Our reality is so easy to manipulate with a
Push,
few
Michael.
sensory deceptions.
Change your
Deceptions like
perspective.
sound.
Oh,
With just a
heck
few
no,
sounds, he had
it's-
discovered that
it's
he could
annoying
alter a
orange.
person's vision. He could transform blank, smooth, plastic robots into lumbering, twisted nightmares. Nightmares far scarier
Welcome
than
to
he could
Face
create
Studio,
with actual
too.
materials. They would appear organic, rotting, putrid, terrifying.
I would
These would be
give her
his
a little
means of keeping
pat.
his son Michael in the house where he belonged. Was it
I would
extreme?
let her
Maybe.
cook
But then
me
again,
dinner.
this was the boy who had killed his son. He would make him sorry. And so Michael would grow up not only dealing with the memories of his own guilt, the hospital room, the pills, the flowers, the death of his brother, but also facing literal nightmares, illusions created by sound. Michael would never forget these either. Years later, as a security guard, he would still draw pictures of them inside of his logbook. But all of these extra projects meant that his home
I
life
like how that's
suffered
what
even
Michael
more.
turns into. Just that.
He's tan. I don't remember him being that tan. He doesn't get it from Purple Guy, and obviously not from his mom. But he
He got it. He got it from sunbathing at Fredbear's Family Diner.
I can just see like a pull out bag just for the kids. He's just always there
The-
bullying the others. They're like, no, it's mine.
The Freddy Fazbear brand hot tub.
He was an absent father and
Don't
a
you wanna
non-existent
be in the hot
husband,
tub
leaving
with
his
Foxy?
wife cold and alone.
Why do you hide inside your walls
I love Ballora.
when there is music
Ballora
in
is
my
such a skrunkly.
halls? All I see is an empty room. No,
No more joy and empty.
tomb.
And despite her repeated demands that he leave his office and engage with the family, he refused time and time again.
No, honey, I will not come up to play with Elizabeth's dolls or Michael's Legos. I told you for last time I have to beat Henry.
I know. I have to make a giant murder machine with a claw for a stomach.
But honey, I made you pasta. I made ramen.
Your noodles have nothing against my mechanical noodles.
I want a divorce.
Well, no, I don't give you consent to divorce me.
I want to break up with you.
I don't give you consent to break up with me.
I want a restraining order.
I don't give you consent to
I'm
go
taking
to the
kids.
government.
I'm taking Elizabeth and Michael.
I'm eating the kids.
That's
That's what
cannibalism.
we're having for dinner.
I'm calling the police. That means you have to come out of your room, though.
Well, joke's on you. I have an elevator directly to the bottom floor from my room.
talked about this. No more elevators in the house.
No, I have built an elevator straight to every room in the house. This is the new and improved sideways elevator.
Honey, we talked about this. This isn't. Your therapist said this isn't good. You have missed 2 sessions. I will Zoom call it for you. I will force you down again. I do not want to do that.
Care about his graduation. He is moving from the 4th grade to the 5th grade.
That's so important, though. Michael's trying his best.
Oh, no!
You
He is not immortal. I don't care. He's gonna die.
If you don't come out here, I will break the Lego Death Star that you made.
Ahem. Poopa stinka.
You know what? I'm calling my lawyer.
Again, leaving her no choice but to leave.
You burned down my house.
You call that a house? It was like a
I'm so
memorial.
mad I turned into a vampire.
L, get better. Cope. L plus ratio.
Need to see your
Plus C.
son.
The baby isn't
Plus
mine.
Well, how's this?
noodle arms.
I'm keeping the diamond ring.
And through it all, there was one lingering feeling. William wasn't done. He had gotten a taste of what it felt like to be unleashed.
William
what it felt
wanted
like
to
be
do more
free.
trolling.
Charlie's murder had unlocked something in him, and he wanted more. June 26th, 1985. Putting on the golden Bonnie suit, he lured children one by
Yo,
one.
was
to
that the
back
bride
room
of
the pizzeria
85?
When no one was looking.
Obviously.
At first, he was cautious. He would lure them
Ah,
with
heck
promises
yeah.
of taking cookies. He
I want
told them that their
cookies.
dog had died. He would ask for help with homework. Susie was the first. Never truly forget your first.
Can you help the giant rabbit with homework?
But where to hide the bodies?
Obviously.
He couldn't sneak out. Someone
Yeah.
would see him. He had to hide them in a place where they'd never be found and where they'd never leave the building. They had to be stuffed inside of the suits. No one maintained those
Why
things
don't you
anyway,
just
except
stuff
for
it
him.
inside
And
the
so
salad
Susie
bar?
would
No one
go
ever goes
into
over there.
Chica.
Hey, don't disrespect the salad bar. I don't know a restaurant that has a salad bar.
Chuck E. Cheese.
I like salad bars. I eat the Jello because there's always Jello at the salad bars.
There's also always goldfish there too for some reason, like just stale goldfish.
That's true. There's just something better about their goldfish, their Jello, and then they have like the Ritz, those little crackers in the packets. They're so good. Why are they so good?
I mean, yeah, they are. It's like, oh, okay, but like cheese and crackers though.
What kind of cheese we dealing with?
I like it's like the one that's like a block of cheese, but you can like dip your cracker into it, and it like comes off as like a chunk.
I've never had
Like,
that.
you know what I'm talking about?
No, I know like the little like slices that you put onto like a cracker. Like a
Okay,
lump.
I remember eating like cheese and crackers that it just came with like this like tub of solid cheese that you just like stick a cracker into it and just like break off a corner, and then it's just on the cracker.
Huh.
I don't know, maybe I'm high or something. I don't know. High on American spirit. Let's go.
No, I don't want.
Don't you want Apex server
Jeremy
hosting?
and Gabriel would come next, but it was easy. It was too easy. And with each little life he snuffed out, his lies got bigger. Their house was burning. They're just being kidnapped. Until the last one where all pretense was
They're
off. He
just
let
being
himself get
kidnapped.
violent. Too violent.
I'll just wait for him after school, throw a bag over his head, hit him with a shovel, and drag him into the back of my car.
The body of Cassidy was far more
Aww.
bloody and broken than any of the others. He'd let himself go too far.
Oh, I don't care about Walmart.
He went so far, he went to Walmart.
Oh, that's horrific.
The worst timeline. This is worse than Ultimate Custom Night.
Truly.
The best way to burn fat and get in shape. It's not keto, paleo, fasting, or vegan, and it's not.
William at Afton after
That
7
one-
murders.
That one he should have killed. With no more active animatronics left, he shoved the body into the one suit that remained backstage. The long-forgotten yellow Fredbear, now broken and discolored with age. Broken, like Cassidy was broken, like his son was broken. Newspapers reported on this disappearance,
Like he
naming the
was
whole
broke.
thing the missing children's incident. Police would even charge William with the crimes after finding security footage of the golden mascot suit luring kids to the back, but they couldn't convict him. They had no bodies, and his face had been hidden behind the mascot suit the entire time. What they had was circumstantial at best, and so he walked away.
The police in
a
this
free
universe
man. But
suck.
Henry knew the truth. In these murders, he saw his daughter
Yes, we
Charlie
need
all
some
over again. So he threw Afton out of the company and shuttered the doors to the old pizzeria. Henry would keep the franchise
We
quiet
need
for
the SWAT
2
team.
years. This would not happen again. This could not happen again. How could he protect the kids? Finally, he developed a solution. He would implement an even more extreme security system in the form of new animatronics. Toy animatronics.
With
inspired by the
guns.
toys that they had been selling years ago. But these guys, these were special. They were a new breed of robot with facial recognition abilities.
But most importantly, they're all tied into some kind of criminal database, so they
With
can
laser
detect a
eyes.
predator a mile away.
All the original animatronics, now
Beep.
withered with age, were moved to the new location. With a plan in place, it was time to try once more. The year was 1987, and the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was making headlines in local
Was that the
newspapers.
pizzeria of
Headlines that just so
87?
happened to catch the attention of William Afton. Freddy's was back, and without him, that was his idea, his character.
Shocked
Henry was,
Pikachu
yet again,
face.
trying to cut him out of the picture. No. As long as these restaurants stayed open, William would always come back. Then he noticed the phone number to
I
the
don't know why, but him holding the newspaper reminds me of the Plants vs. Zombies newspaper guy.
apply at the bottom of the article. $100 a week to apply to all. Afton would go back, not as an owner or co-founder. He would go back in the one place that they would least suspect him, a lowly day shift security guard. And there it was, buried in the back of parts and services mixed in with the old withered animatronics was the golden rabbit. With the yellow security badge still on his chest, he used his crank to pull open the spring locks. It was time for Bonnie to give an encore
That's not a crank, that's clearly a phone.
We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right. From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, especially concerning any previous employees. When we get it all sorted out, we may
Skill
move
issue.
to the day shift. A position just became available.
1987, 5 more kids. He didn't know what felt better, getting back into the suit after 2 long years of waiting, or knowing how devastating this would be to Henry the next morning. He didn't even try to hide his crime this time, just meant more blood on Henry's hands. He'd failed to protect the kids
Estimate.
again. The restaurant
That's
had only
very
been open
rude
for a
of
few
him.
weeks, but William was sure that this would get it to close. Good, if he couldn't have Freddy's, no one would. Whenever a new pizzeria opened, he would be there. But as he sat in
Toddler
his
logic.
bunkers, something else started to linger in William's mind. He had seen something strange. The old withered animatronics, they had been wandering around the building, spurred on by the puppet. It was almost like those old robots were trying to save the kids. Save them? They couldn't, obviously, but still, how were they moving? It was almost like they had been given life somehow. Did he have something to do with that? The following day, the news would report a security guard getting bitten by one
Wow.
of the animatronics during the day
Incredible.
shift. Was that bite meant for him? William's curiosity was stronger now than his bloodlust. He had to learn more, but how? There was no way he'd ever be able to get inside another
His
Freddy's
curiosity
pizzeria.
was
Heck, there was
stronger than
practically
his
no way a
bloodlust.
Freddy's would ever open again. He needed to create something new, something brand new. He needed to create his own pizzeria.
Due to the massive success, and even more so the unfortunate closing of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, it was clear that the stage was set, no pun intended, for another contender in children's entertainment.
Circus Baby's Pizza World. This would be the place where he could continue his work. No longer just murdering, experimenting. He needed more kids, and he needed them alive. And knowing that he couldn't show his face on the restaurant floor, he needed a way of remotely capturing his victims and preserving them for his work. With that goal in mind, he designed a new breed of animatronic. Their endoskeletons fluid and flexible. He equipped them with sound lures that could mimic voices. They could isolate children. They could incapacitate and contain them with zero direct input from him. It was brilliant. He
Wait,
was
if the goal was to
brilliant. Far
preserve them, why does it just kill them when it eats them?
Well, that's just Circus Baby. Fredbear has like the storage part. Does it
with
say it
zero
on here?
direct input from him.
I thought
It
Baby
was
had the storage part too.
I don't think she does. I think she has the scoop and the ice cream because I know he has like the storage thing, like you can kind of see like right here, that's where the storage is.
Brilliant. He capacity.
I don't know
He
about
equipped them with sound, a new breed of animal.
Foxy
Well,
doesn't really have it.
unfortunately, I never took an engineering
Animatronic.
class, so I have no idea how murder robots work.
We'll see right here, that's the speaker thing for Foxy to
Skeletons
change
fluid
his
and
voice.
flexible. He equipped them
It
with
seems
sound
you are
waves
late to the show, so I brought the show to you.
that could mimic voices. They could isolate children. They could incapacitate
And then like that's it doesn't
and
I
contain
can't
them
see
with
it, but it's,
zero
like, right
direct
there.
input from him. It was brilliant. He was brilliant.
They could
Far
do
beyond the
several
simple
trolling on
bars and
children.
wires of Henry's designs. And the characters he chose for this were uniquely his. His new roster wasn't going to be tainted by Henry's disgusting barnyard bird. Instead, it was back to his characters, his creations, Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, as well as two special ones. The first, Ballora, was an homage to the woman who left him. Now she would never leave him again. The second, the titular baby, was designed with his baby in mind, Elizabeth, his youngest child. She would always be Daddy's little girl, the one that listened to him, the one that obeyed.
I saw this really cute comic. I need to find it, and if I can, I'll put it in the description. But it's essentially how Elizabeth felt neglected and how she wanted to like impress William, and that's why she went to go find him to be like, you know what? If Dad's
See,
gonna
why
put
won't you let me play with her?
because she's a danger, sweetie.
Daddy, why won't you let me play with her?
Honey, please go back to learning French and stop using your French American voice on me.
Bonjour, why won't you let me play with her?
I don't know if it's better or worse.
I mean, it's obviously better.
Also, hi! There's someone in chat. Hello.
Hi, howdy, hello. What's up?
We're watching the Fnaf timeline. It's going great.
I know, this is a great way to spend my midnight.
This is my birthday stream. It's great. It's going wonderful.
Well, I mean, we only have 30 minutes left to finish this before your birthday's over.
Till the day that
We're
she
not gonna
did.
make it.
Why won't you let me play with her?
We need to speed run this.
Didn't you make
Hang
her
on, let me
just
change
for
the
me?
speed. Oh, never mind.
Great idea.
Turn to 4x speed.
I am really trying to go out of my comfort zone.
But with Michael,
heck
always
nah.
ready to go from spark to spectacular.
Wendy
Made with
Elizabeth
Michaels,
dead.
Made by you. Hey, rewards members, now earn every time you shop.
The day before Circus Baby's Pizza World opened, she disobeyed. She didn't listen. Left alone with Baby, she got too close. The animatronic ripped in half and swallowed her whole. A scared and confused child fading into eternal darkness. By the time Afton found her, it was too late. She was gone.
The
He
islands.
immediately canceled the launch of Circus Babies under the guise of a
They're
gas.
just like
But wait, as he sat
just
there at the foot of the stage, he
slowly
noticed that
closed.
something was different. The eye color of the robot had changed. Baby had been built with blue eyes, but now they were emerald green, the same color as Elizabeth's. Was she in there? Could this all be
got
connected
you.
to the free-moving animatronics that he had seen at Freddy's? He had to know more. His mourning turned to excitement. He had to return to where it all started. 1993. Pathetic.
Oh, he
This
time
place
traveled?
was pathetic. Henry had clearly
Yeah,
tried to reopen one
he-
final time with those old original animatronics
he-
from so
he
long ago.
pulled,
But Williams' damage to the brand had been permanent.
he
These things
pulled a
stank
Mario
of
World.
death
It's a
and
blast
been
from the
washed in
past.
decades. But even if they had, nothing could wash away the stink of murder that haunted these halls. One night, then another, then another. William repeatedly snuck into the old broken restaurant to lure the living animatronics to him, one by one dismantling them, robbing them of their endoskeletons. The metal had to be the secret. It had to contain the remnants of life itself. But he had to know for sure. Leaping out of a
That
room that was invisible to the
endoskeleton scares
animatronics
me.
programming,
Its eyes
he
are
dragged
too
the
big.
oversized robotic skeletons back to his underground
sounds like a
workshop,
personal
back to where
problem.
Circus Baby watched on with glowing, curious
I don't like
eyes,
how it
eyes that
look at me.
somehow felt alive. Not knowing what else to to do, William
Just
melted the
tell it
robotic
to
parts
stop
down.
looking at you.
5 animatronic endoskeletons reduced down to 1 silvery
I
puddle of
hope
goo.
you
Could he
die in a
transfer this living metal
fire.
to his own creations? He had to try. He picked up a syringe and filled it with the molten metal and injected the goo into Funtime Freddy's twisted, wiry endoskeleton.
The funny
Suddenly,
as
the coils
goo.
came to life. Like
I love
snakes
Yendo.
writhing in a pile, what had once been cold, lifeless metal moved and jolted on its own. He'd done it! He had unlocked the secret to life itself. Except something was clearly wrong. The
Take that,
movements
Miss
were
Afton.
erratic.
I
They were
have made
violent,
spaghetti.
Angry. Baby didn't act this way. She had been calm, collected. This was clearly something else, something mindless
love my
and
lord.
frantic. Perhaps by mixing the souls and then portioning them out, he had created
Cocoa
incomplete
lore.
beasts. He would need to keep
Cocoa
testing
lore,
to truly
lore,
understand
lore.
it. He needed more of this remnant. As he searched the old pizzeria
Lore
one more time
gameplay.
for any remaining scraps of metal, the ghosts attacked. His past victims come to collect their due, all led by
Yeah,
Cassidy.
it's
The
like-
5
heck
lined up and
not.
blocked the door.
Teeth.
Afton's mind reeled. The scientific implications
Can we
of
just
this
talk
were
about
that
how
of
the ghost
ghosts,
just looks
real
like teeth?
ghosts that he could
They just need a little head pat.
Yeah,
I do see it though.
I love teeth.
It's making me
see all
self-conscious
standing
about it.
against him. But what could they do? What couldn't they do? He panicked as Cassidy approached. How do you stop something that's already dead? Maybe with the thing that resulted in their death in the first place. He would get into his suit like
Easy,
old times.
just,
He would regain his power over them just,
just
like the day that they
Be better.
died. He
Give
was
him
the
a
genius.
handshake.
He was the one in the suit. He was the one in charge. The
Oh.
spring lock snapped into place.
He's
Maybe
dead.
it was his frantic movements.
Imagine
Maybe it was the
dying.
leaky abandoned restaurant.
Oh.
Maybe it was just fate coming to collect its
Imagine
due. He didn't know. The only thing
casually
he did know
getting
was that his brain was
the-
suddenly filled with searing white-hot pain as hundreds of metallic pins and gears stabbed into his body
Yeah.
from all sides. All he could do was collapse, blood slowly oozing out of the suit and pooling onto the floor around him. It couldn't end like this. It wouldn't end like this. His work was unfinished.
Clearly,
Unable
this
to
is
move,
why
his
you
only
bring,
option was to survive, to live, to keep living.
potions
Took
of
days
slow
lying
falling.
in his own blood, but eventually someone found
That-
him. A
that's the
security
correct
guard making a
potion, I
normal
think.
report. When he saw the animatronics torn apart in the middle of the
I
party
think
room
levitating
floor,
would've
it
been
caused him
better.
to file an immediate report of a break-in. An owner would
No,
have to
no,
come in and
potion
claim the
of,
damage, and who else would it be other than
harming.
Henry? Hope jumped in Afton's heart. Henry would see him.
It's like, okay, you're like dying on the floor, and then like someone comes in, it's like, oh no, they're dead. It must have been Henry, and it's like, yo.
Oh no. Anyway.
You know what? I'm gonna blame the person that's not here, and that like probably is like the nicest guy on earth, like the sweetest person.
Like I imagine just like Henry just walks in and just like, oh, I didn't do it. All right, seal up the safe room.
And then William's like, actually, I'm dead. So
Henry, get me out of here, Henry.
you know, I don't really feel like it today. You know, William, you kind of ruined my life. You killed my daughter, so like, you can just stay here.
Can you at least give me some fries? I'm hungry.
No. You know what? You don't even get your 3DS. I actually broke it. You know,
What? My Pokemon Ultra Sun save file was on there. No.
Sounds like a you problem. Maybe you should have been playing Alpha Sapphire with me.
But I wanted Litten.
They were partners, after all. He would be the one to help save him, to get him out of this suit, to relieve him from this tremendous pain. Henry entered the secret room. His eyes fell on Afton sitting there in the pool of red, and Henry,
how you doing?
saying nothing, turned and walked away.
Don't mind me. I'm just kind of dead.
Due to budget restrictions, the previously mentioned safe rooms are being sealed at most
Budget
locations,
restrictions.
including this one. Nothing is being taken out beforehand, so if you left anything inside, then it's your own fault. Management also requests that this room not be mentioned to family, friends, or insurance representatives.
And so
Screw you
there
if you
Afton
left
would
your
sit,
phone in
hanging
there.
on for 30 years, trapped behind the walls with an iron will that refused to die. And
Those weren't his pupils. Hang
3
on.
years, trapped behind
No, wait.
Heck no.
behind
He's
the
got
walls with
Stan's
an iron
eyes.
will that refuse
I don't like. That's weird. Why? Why can't he just have normal eyes?
to die.
I don't
End
like it.
of this part. I say this
Because
part
he's
because it's not
purple.
officially the end of the Afton era just yet, but this just felt like a really solid stopping point, and the episode has gone on forever. Okay, so most of this is things that we already knew.
Just
Stuff
gone
that's been
for a wee
established and
bit.
reestablished time and time again by the games. That said, there are two things that I absolutely have to address. The first and biggest is the placement of Sister location, or more specifically, Elizabeth's death. To me, evidence in game seems to suggest that it was meant to come before the crying child's death in 1983. The biggest clue
How
to this
big
is
the
that the
claw
crying
is.
child saw
It's like-
something.
it's
Remember
so
what you saw
huge.
is the phrase that's repeated over and over again by psychic friend Fredbear, aka William Afton speaking through a walkie-talkie
friend
in the Fredbear
Fredbear.
plushie's stomach. But what did he see? Well, I think we can tell based on how the nightmare animatronics are visualized. They have mouths in their stomachs, just like Baby ripping in half at the waist to swallow a kid. There's also the empty girl's
She's a
room, one
mimic.
presumably left behind by a dead sister. And
That makes
lastly,
sense.
it explains why he's scared
It just opens up just like a nutcracker.
No. That was like a mimic thing from Dungeons and Dragons: The Honor of Thieves. You cannot tell me. I don't know anything about D&D, but that looked like the chest. You know, and it's a trailer, so it's not a spoiler. But the chest that opens up and it tries to attack, I think, Holga, and like.
I like how you say that, like that is something that is exclusive to the D&D movie. It's not in any other D&D like media. No, that's exclusively the movie.
I've seen it twice, and so like I don't know D&D. I just know the movie. Well, I know that you roll, and I'm really good. I'm horrible at rolling for charisma, but that's not the point. Anyway, I don't know about D&D. You were supposed to teach me. That never happened. But like,
Okay, so first step of D&D, make sure you play as a bard. Second,
I'm not playing as a bard. No. I'm not playing as a bard.
Second tip, seduce everyone.
No. That's not.
Even the walls and the tables.
I don't think you want me to be like that. You don't want that. No. That forbidden song that you know of that I'm not gonna say, and you're not gonna say. That was
I dreamt to be...
the forbidden. No. The other one. The one I sang yesterday. That's what
This is a story all about how
my
my...
stars.
No, my life, not my stars.
I'm not gonna play a druid. No. I'm not. I would play a druid, but like I'm not playing a bard.
Alright, what about...
I would play a druid. I would play a paladin.
What about barbarian?
I could play barbarian. I like Holga. I think she's the barbarian. I liked her potato. I like potatoes.
Someday I just want to play like a barbarian with just like 2 intelligence and just like have an excuse to go around just saying,
Nice.
me strong, me big, I punch face, feel good.
I have D&D Beyond prepped. One day I'll use her. I will use my ranger, I think she is.
Punch face, feel good. Make it so that I no need therapy.
Alright, we're just gonna continue on to a Fnaf.
and more specifically why Afton...
Oh wait, I was gonna ask how we got from D&D to this. I was like, oh, I said a mimic. I'm telling.
We went from
a dead sister,
Fnaf
and
to a
lastly, it
mimic
explains
to
why he's scared and more specifically
barbarian
why
therapy.
Afton wants him scared. He needs his kids to stay away from the animatronics. He doesn't want them getting too close because the last time one of his kids got too close to a robot, his daughter died. That's then why he sets up the nightmares, to scare both Mike and the crying...
But Crying Child, I thought Crying Child died.
Well, yeah, he wanted to scare his ghost.
But oh my gosh,
child away from the animatronics from that point forward.
It's
That's
like
why
a genie
books
in
like
a
the Character
bottle.
Encyclopedia outright suggest that we play as the crying child in FNAF 4. That's why he has a nanny cam following the crying child everywhere, so he can keep tabs on his kids when they're out of his sight. He can't let another Elizabeth situation happen.
Okay,
The death of
maybe he
Elizabeth
also
gives
invented the nightmares, like during the bite. I don't know.
That doesn't make sense.
William Afton extra motivation for killing. He's a grieving father. His
Nothing
daughter was
makes
taken away
sense.
from him, so
Welcome
Charlie
to the
should die as
world.
well. He's
You know what?
lashing out at the world after
Nom
losing
nom.
his kids.
I would-
And again,
nom
we
nom nom.
know that at least one
nom
of his
nom.
children had to
I
have
am very
died prior
close
to
to my
Charlie's
mic.
death, based on the mound of dirt that we see in Midnight Motorist. It also allows circus babies
Yo, I
to open and
love
close
dirt.
earlier in the time.
Who are these two? Who?
Well, that's Bozo, and that's Chuckles.
Fair
Line,
enough,
which
have
is
a
how you
great
wind
day.
up with Funtime Foxy
Yeah,
appearing
the
as
greatest
Mangle in the
FNAF
FNAF 2
characters.
location.
Don't you know them?
I want to watch this. Hang on. I want to
Ladies
see.
and gentlemen, thank you for visiting. And
I
we
like
hope
how
you
this is
enjoyed
the
show.
October
Freddy and the gang are
2021
pretty
trailer.
tired, but they'll be
Like, they
back
did not
again
have
next week
a
for a
newer
few days
trailer
of
for
scheduled
this
maintenance.
now.
Your chuckles? Nice.
Heck no, they're just gonna spoil the death of Chica. That was my favorite character.
Yeah. FNAF is getting a movie. It's gonna be great. Again, they showed the trailer.
Heck nah, Sun became sussy.
Oh, I hated that scene. I hated this scene. I liked this scene. Wait, is that Shio? Ayo?
Yo, security breaches out? I love security. There is no way this game is a buggy mess. This is very polished game. Just look at that amazing frame rate.
There's another minute.
But the frame rate is low even in the trailers. How is that possible?
Music man.
Moose man. I love the Moo man.
This is the game. This is for the 2021 game. This isn't for the movie's not out yet.
This is the trailer for the game, not the movie.
Fortunately, actually.
Wow.
Please make your way
Wow,
to the front of the
Security
building,
Breach was
where
so
you will be given novelty glasses,
buggy, it turned
voucher
itself
for
into a movie.
and
That's
where
how
you
long
will
it
sign a
took.
legal disclaimer releasing us of all liability for anything that might have happened during your visit.
Hi, Vanny.
Have an awesome night, and we'll see you
Yeah,
again soon.
wait. That's how movies are made. They're just games that are made so poorly, they somehow become movies. And then they just
Basically,
ship out to
Elizabeth-
Hollywood, and then they give it a T for teen, and then they ship it back because they don't want to publish it. And then that's when they give it to Lionsgate.
Dying first has everything it needs to fit, except for the most important thing, the murder weapon. Why would Afton be building an
telling you,
animatronic with a
it's a
giant claw in
mimic.
its stomach so early in the timeline? At this
That's
point,
not
he
the
just
real
has no
Elizabeth
motive. It just
Afton.
doesn't
Not
make
Liz-
sense prior to 1983. At this point in the story,
Yes, could you just imagine Miss Afton just like in the delivery room, pushing out just like this giant robot with a claw?
I'm gonna retire.
Would you look at that? It's a beautiful baby, nurse? What gender is this? Is this a boy? Is this a girl? Is this intersex? I can't tell.
The claws for the ice cream, not the pizza.
No, it's actually for the salad bar, because it has to achieve children.
No. Oh boy. We have another 30 minutes of this, I think.
story,
My
he hasn't
gosh.
killed anyone. And we know for a fact that the missing children's incident is 1985. So Elizabeth's death coming before any of those events just
I like
doesn't
Peachy.
work. Hence why I placed it where I did in the narrative timeline.
Elizabeth
Afton's
in
death
that
here
key
is
art
also a bit tricky.
looks like
Hence
freaking
why I
Insomnia from Friday Night Funkin'. It was a very specific reference that barely anyone would get.
You've made me watch.
placed it where I did in the narrative. Afton's death here is also a bit tricky. We know that he returned to the FNAF 1 location to break down the original animatronics in order to harvest their remnant. We know that he melts down 5 things to become one thing. Candy Cadet makes that very clear. So the 5 things are the 5 endoskeletons from the various animatronics. That would be totally fine if it weren't for one huge problem. On his fifth visit
Candy
to the
Cadet
pizzeria,
reminds
Afton
me
gets
of my
spring locked.
uncle's
So
father's
either the
nephew.
5 becoming 1 starts in 1993, but then finishes 30 years later when he reemerges from the wall to add the last endoskeleton to his pile, or he's had himself some reason to return to the original location after harvesting all the stuff that he can. It's not ideal, but it's
Okay,
one
but,
angle
like,
that makes
can-
the most sense.
can
And
we
with
just
that,
talk
this
about
next
the idea of
chapter
just,
comes to a
like-
close, thereby
like,
leaving us with
he
5
does
more
like
games to
4 of the
cover
5
and another
kids,
40 plus years.
and then dies, and then 30 years later is just like, oh, I need to go back. I missed a kid. All right, here we go. Now it's finished.
You know what? I think we still need the bear from the first. I think we need not Cocaine Bear, but just Bear.
Yo, I love Bear from the hit movie Bear.
I feel like that's a movie. Just somewhere, just Bear.
Hold on, let me Google it.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
All right, when I look up Bear movie, the first thing that comes up is Cocaine Bear. So
That movie is so stupid.
oh, okay. There's a 1988 movie just called The Bear.
What's it about?
All right, let's read the description. An orphan bear cub hooks up with an adult male as they try to dodge human hunters. I feel like you could. I feel like you could word that a bit better. Please don't say a bear cub hooks up with an adult male. Please don't say that.
Oh, hang on. There's a 2010 one called A Bear. 2 young couples are trapped in a car with a grizzly bear attacking them. As they battle the creature and contemplate their uncertain fate, secrets begin to emerge that begin to tear the group apart before the bear. Imagine like the bear's like, you know what? I'm gonna be the ultimate wingman because I know the girl cheating. And so that sounds like a great movie. Thank you for that recommendation. I'll put it on the movies I'll never watch, but I'll say I will.
According to IMDb, it has a 2.9 out of 10. Heck yeah, we're watching it.
Alright guys, come back next stream. We're gonna be watching that.
Hooray, piracy!
Years of Fazbear history to recap. When you put it that way, something tells me that this might balloon into 4 parts. Ugh, we'll see. Anyway, until then, my Faz heads, congratulations! You've made it through a massive upload. And hey, if you are still looking for more to watch, then check out the other 5 brand new awesome theories over on our new.
If you have a cryo character, you can use a thing called
it's
ice
Kaya.
bridging, where you literally make a
I
bridge
love Kaya.
out of ice.
Hang on.
Does this take longer?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't realize this was
Is it cooler?
Genshin. I thought this was like a crypto
But in
game
all
or something.
seriousness, you can actually use
No,
ice
this is-
bridging to get to places in this.
Because, like, he looks like the kind of guy to play crypto games.
He honestly did, and I don't know how to feel about it. Yes, Genshin Impact is cross-platforming. You can play it with phone, PC, iPad.
Game Boy Advance.
You can probably get on Game Boy Advance. It couldn't be that hard.
Like, if you can run it on a tractor, you could probably run it on a Game Boy Advance.
Yo, I'll get it back on my PC because it was 64 gigabytes, which is bigger than Security Breach now, actually, I think.
Yeah, it is, but why would you want to play it on your PC when you can play it on a tractor?
Why would you want to play Cuphead on PC when you can play it in a Tesla?
Why would you want to play Security Breach? In general.
To not finish it?
I mean, technically you finished it. You just never uploaded you finishing it.
Actually, I never finished the true ending. I never made it because I was too furious that I didn't charge Freddy because I didn't pay attention to his dialogue.
Why didn't you just I don't know, just like steal a YouTube video, just like put a
Markiplier?
face cam of you like in the corner, just say like live Coco reaction and just call it a day.
I'll get that alternate photos you made me, and it's like it changes by my reaction. Like, oh my gosh. Hey guys, live Coco here. No, I gotta get like a monotone voice like Dave. Hey guys. Welcome back to another.
Wait, hold on. Rumberio, you've never heard of the gaming console named General? It's the greatest console ever. It's made by the United States government,
And,
and the military.
With great low rates, you can save online. Go to the General and save some time. And get some V-Bucks. Play some.
Did you know that 15 minutes of playing on the General console could save you 15% or more on car insurance?
Mamma mia. Oh no, should we continue?
I mean, it is midnight.
Hello, Internet! Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Game
Game
Theory!
Continues
And page 20
anyway.
of our final
Proceed.
FNAF timeline. This is getting ridiculous. Last time we covered
We're
William
on
Afton's
page
rise
20,
as a
by the
serial
way.
killer, how the loss of his young son in 1983 caused him to make one fateful promise that would ultimately serve as his driving force for decades. I will put you back together. Fueled by grief and obsession, Afton would lose himself in work and drink.
I
One
don't
night
think that's
with
a
the
healthy
rage-
outlook on life.
Well, are you thinking the glass is empty or the glass was never full? Was it always empty?
I think William would be the guy who's like, I drank the glass.
And then
I
I
must
ate the glass.
I must synthesize the water again because I drank the water.
Ponder's life? That H2O. It had too much carbonation.
I do believe that this water does not exist anymore. I must create more out of me.
I melted the glass and drank it. You know what? I would do that too. You know, Wilbur Soot once said that he ate sand. So, you know what? If you just got enough sand and then you sat in a tanning bed, you would have glass in your stomach. That's how that works, right?
I remember someone once asked me, can I eat metal and live? And I'm just like,
Yeah?
I'm not Google. Can you just look it up, please? Like, here, I'll look it up for you. Okay, according to Google, if you eat metal, you will probably die.
I ate a penny.
So
That's
I
copper?
don't think so.
Isn't copper a metal? Cause I ate a.
Yes,
Yeah,
copper is a metal. Last time I checked,
I ate
and
a
unless
penny.
chemistry has been lying to me for 5 years.
I ate a penny so that the metal detector would go through me. It would beep 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 beep. I don't know if it ever happened to that penny. I don't know if it's still in me. We do need iron, cause
No. Here's what we need to do. We need to wear magnets on all of our skin, so that the metal detector bounces back at the TSA agents.
Oh, so we need to get I don't know where I was going with it. I had a really funny thing. Yeah, was good. Anyway, let's get through this.
Okay, better idea. What if we use magnets?
I was thinking the Mr. Hippo magnets. We just cover our
Oh
bodies
yeah,
with them.
yeah. Okay, even better idea. We're gonna bring in a mirror to reflect the metal detection.
Why not just some marbles? Some little metal marbles? Just replace your eyes with them. I saw it in Coraline. Just turn them into buttons.
I've never seen Coraline. I still need to watch it.
My parents made me stop midway, so you're not.
They just saw the marbles. I was like, Coco, can you please not fantasize about replacing your eyes with marbles?
No, they saw the buttons and they're like, excuse me, that's kind of not appropriate. I'm like, I've been literally playing games that deal with
What, like the
children.
button eyes?
Yeah.
What? What did they have a hissy fit the moment you brought home like a doll?
No, they're like, okay, so in the movie, like the mom tries to make Coraline have button eyes to make her stay there forever or something. And they're like, that's too dark for you. And I'm like, well, I'm literally playing games about dead children and a mass murderer.
Mom, I wrote a fanfic about someone falling from a 3-story balcony and breaking their spine.
No, I didn't.
Wait, that didn't happen in My Sweet Jessie?
Wait, that was, what's his name? Was that Jack? No. Wait, which one? Was that Jack?
It's been a while. I don't remember the the names of your characters.
Oh, my stars. Hang on. We have Jesse, Rami. I think the other kid
Jesse and James. We also had Meowth in there. He made a cameo.
Carlos and Bethany were the parents. Oh, I think his name was Jack or Jake. My gosh, I forgot it. That Monty brutally. Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot.
Monty did a mild amount of trolling in that one.
But Vanny, wait, hang on. The visions that I had when I was writing that scene, they're back. Oh.
Like when I read that scene for the first time, I just like imagine Monty just like runs in, does like does like a Mortal Kombat uppercut and just like watches as he falls down.
Yeah, so he went for Rami.
Yeah.
And like yeeted her up and then like punched her into the ground. Then Vanny. No, that was Jack because Jack had Rami hide in a locker, which Vanny like No, wait, hang on, I gotta reread this.
Doesn't matter, they're all dead anyway.
I gotta figure this out. Hang on, we will pause this. That's what happened next. Nope, yummy. I don't have it on here. It's on Google Docs. I don't have, or is it?
Oh no!
I don't have Google Docs on this PC. No.
Kill issue.
All right. Well, anyway.
Out against Henry's young daughter Charlie, his first murder. This moment becomes the first.
Anyway, speaking of child murder,
that ultimately destroys William's life and the lives of those around him. That one murder gives Afton a taste for blood.
You're not a murderer. You just fantasize about murdering.
Different pizzerias. Those children go on to possess animatronics, giving Afton his first exposure to Remnant and the potential solution for bringing his son back to life. The need to learn more about this miraculous power leads him to produce the Funtime animatronic.
Okay, so. Okay, possibly, but that's where the ice cream's being made. I don't know if she could hold a child.
Wait, hold on. Baby actually makes ice cream within her? I thought she just, like, stored it for later.
She, like, goes up to, like, a Walmart and it's like, should I get dilly bars? Should I get crunch bars?
I thought Circus Baby's Pizza World just had like an ice cream bar and she just like took cones and put it inside of her. Like there's literally just an ice cream maker in this kidnap robot, huh?
Yes. She makes it within herself and then she offers it because it's homemade.
You know what?
Unless William is buying food for her and then like shoving it into her, which that doesn't seem right. From my perspective, that I don't like that. I would much rather have her just. But then, how does he get the milk in? Hang on. How does?
Oh, you know.
I'm just at him playing. Oh, Matt Pat figures it out.
animatronics,
Uh,
as well as their capture devices.
Well,
Robots
well, you
designed to bring
see,
kids to
he
him for
gives it to her via the bottle.
That's why she pee-pee?
Yes.
That's why she pee-pee. But, okay, she's not waterproof. Unless she is. But, my brain. I'm just
experimentation
gonna
and
continue.
collection of more remnant. Except there was one
She
thing that he
isn't
didn't account
waterproof,
for,
but she's
his daughter's
milk-proof, don't
curiosity.
worry.
He made the robots too appealing, and it would cost him Elizabeth's life. Now with 2 children to put back together, Afton was more desperate and crazed than ever, returning to defunct pizzerias to steal the possessed metal still living inside their walls. What he didn't account for, though, were the ghosts, forcing him to pay for the sins of his past. When last we left him, William was spring-locked.
Wait, hold on. Go back to the crying child. real quick.
That looks like Minecraft.
Okay, the way it's layered on the tiles makes it look like the mouth is just all the way down there.
It's like, I'm so sad. It reminds me of Napstablook.
Minecraft's gas when you expand.
It is a crying face. This is actually, it looks more like a crying face. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, isn't that the point of the design?
Yes, but now it looks like,
The ultimate sad.
I give it a little head pat and then you go boop on your
Of his
nose.
past. When last we left him, William was spring-locked, bleeding
L
to
plus
death behind
ratio.
a secret wall.
Cope, be
Gone,
better.
but certainly not
Minecraft
forgotten,
villagers
as we're
be
about to
like.
see in today's video. Today we're finishing up chapter 2 of our story,
Yay.
wrapping up the Afton era.
Yo, I
Over the
love
next
chapter
6 pages,
2.
we switch our focus to the other main character of the franchise, Mike, a young boy dealing with the fallout of a stupid childhood decision with
L plus
tragic
ratio.
consequences.
Just be
A
better.
young man whose
C.
life is best
Cope.
described as collateral damage, caught in the blast radius.
Wow,
of
as he aged, he lost his tan. What a sadness.
That's a lot of damage.
Whirlwind of
How about a
destruction.
little
Now, before I
more?
begin, let me just rip off the
just
band-aid
need to
now.
flex
We
it.
won't be finishing the timeline today.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to, but covering
It
FNAF
can fix a broken marriage.
Obviously. Oh. I did it
Matt
again.
Pat jump
sorry,
scare.
I wanted to, but covering FNAF VR, AR, and Security Breach wound
Oh,
up
yeah, I
taking me an
forgot.
additional 9
keep
pages
bringing
of
back
script.
Security
And I've
Breach.
already made you wait long enough for this part,
I
so
mean,
just
did
had
you
to make
forget
the
about
executive call to
AR?
break this one up into
No,
2.
'cause I
Don't worry,
played
that
it
part is already written. It is
for,
already
like-
Was
recorded.
it
It's just in the
good?
process
It's
of being
actually
edited.
really
It is a
fun.
hefty episode. So mark it on your
did,
calendar. That
It did actually break my Android when I did get it. But that's besides the point. My Android just stopped working. Which is why I got
Wow,
my
this is like... This has gone past breaking the fourth wall. This is breaking the fifth wall.
That one's actually going to be going live on March 25th. It's also
Oh, we
coming complete with
missed
a
him.
live talk back where
Aw,
we go back
man,
over
we
everything
can't
from the
watch
past
it
couple episodes, as
anymore.
well as
It's
having
not
ourselves
March
some very
25th.
special guests. So
That's
overall, that one
like
should be a lot of fun. Fair warning, though, the conclusions we
Should have released on March
Breach,
14th.
ooh,
That's
they are
the best date.
controversial. I feel good about them. Like, I think that we've locked in on a lot of the answers here, but they're
this
going to
year.
raise a lot of discussion. Let's just say that you're either going to love that episode or hate it. I don't really think there's going to be much in between on that one. Anyway, without any further ado, let's
Coco,
cover a
did you love
chunk
it
of
or did
timeline
you
that's
hate
a
it?
lot less
Oh, I hated it
controversial.
'cause I
Let's
missed
meet
it.
Mike.
Oh, man.
2023.
William still wasn't back. Weird. Michael knew his father sometimes traveled for work, disappearing for days on end, but usually there was some sort of
I can't
notice,
believe
phone call.
Fazbear Frights takes place in the present.
I wish I lived in the present with the gift of my past mistakes, but the future keeps
And now the
slipping.
future is in the past of the future's present.
I just forgot my Foxy plush was like right next to my desk. I'm gonna hug it.
Post-it, something. It's not like Michael and his father were
Foxy
close,
gives
far
love.
from it. But as a household of 2 suffering men coping with years of tragedy and loss, there was at least some element of communication between the two of them. They were united
give
by
him
a
a kiss
name
on the
and a
nose.
shared pain. This time, though, things
The
felt
little
different.
poop.
William had left nothing. His absence was longer. There were no check-ins, no updates, just silence. Something had happened. If there was one thing Michael
So
knew
is he
about his
just living
father, it
by
was that he
himself
had
now?
contingencies,
What happened?
safety checks, backup
Oh.
plans. His father was a careful and
Um,
guarded man. He held his cards close to his chest.
he's
and
not
as
by
such, William
himself,
had
he's got
prepared him in the
psychic
event that
friend
something like
Fredbear.
this ever happened. Normally,
That's
his father kept his
true.
home office locked, but in the event of an unexpected, prolonged absence, Michael had been instructed to enter his father's office and look behind an empty set of shelves mounted in the corner of the room. Rolling his eyes, Michael
Like,
entered
that's
the
a normal
office. Never
thing
fully understood
for
how William was able to
fast respect.
Alright, so if anything happens to me, just move my desk a 1/4 inch to the left, click or tap on the wall 4 times to the southwest position at coordinates B17, A14, and then a secret room will enter, and then you'll find my Chris Pratt collection. And that...
also my elevator that goes to every room in the house.
Don't touch my elevator. I still... If I do,
It was the only way I could get around my wife getting me for dinner.
I wanted to invite you to pasta. It was
But
game night.
no, now I have the power of mechanical noodles. I do not need pasta no more.
Do you understand mechanical hands are the ruler of everything? Do you know how the ruler of everything? The ruler of everything in the end?
In the ghetto or the ghetto, in the town or the meadow, in the billow, even over the sun, my elevator can reach it.
To spend so many hours of his days locked up in here. There was just nothing to do. Most of this place was empty. He dragged himself over to the shelf in the corner, expecting to find an
That's
emergency
just a
family safety
a set
deposit
piece.
box.
Thanks,
But what
William
he actually
Afton.
found there was completely unexpected.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it.
I found the
I
elevator.
It was right where you said it would be.
The shelf swung open and revealed a giant industrial elevator, one that led straight down into an underground bunker. But that was impossible. Hidden inside his childhood home
Holy
was
crap,
a
there's a
secret entrance
monkey
to an
in there.
enormous underground science lair. It didn't.
I like you're like, oh yes, everything's like going into chaos. Monkey.
Make any sense.
DK.
Seriously, it
Donkey
didn't make
Kong.
any sense. And yet,
I mean,
here it
like,
was,
everything
man.
else here is just normal, but the monkey, that's going too far.
Directly underneath the floor plan of the house that he'd grown up in, lost
No
his
comment.
brother in, been tortured in. Michael thought that he'd known his father, a prideful, sad, angry man with petty everyday problems, but clearly he'd been living with a stranger this entire time. His father had secrets.
I like the
Suddenly, days of William
implication
being
that
alive-
whenever William gets mad, his entire skin just turns red.
He's just an angry guy.
Just a very angry man.
He just needs a little hug and his wife's noodles.
He is not interested in pasta.
Honey, I made that pasta just for you. It's fettuccine alfredo, your favorite.
Fettuccine these nuts.
Honey, it's Michael's 13th birthday today. You don't want to wish him happy birthday? He wrote you a song.
I'll wish it to him on the next birthday. Just give him an IOU.
He said that for the past 10 years. This is becoming like Seuss and his father.
Does he want to go out for drinks with me?
He's 13!
It's close enough. That'll just round up.
Honey, I need you to come out here, look me in the eyes, and say that to my face. No, don't go get the milk.
Opens
Don't
door.
go get the milk.
Yes, closes door.
Don't you get oh my gosh. You know what? This is why I'm getting a divorce. This is why I'm gonna be your 13th ex.
I never gave you consent to get the divorce.
Too bad. I'm gonna go get it, and I'm gonna get a restraining order, and then I'm gonna take Michael with me because Michael deserves a better life.
No, Michael deserves to be with me because I can give him piggyback rides.
Okay, well I can make him his favorite type of biscuits and gravy.
Well, piggyback rides are more important than your cooking.
How dare you? You know, this is the 70s. This is what actually women aren't really known for cooking in the 70s. That's more like the 50s. But you know what? I'm a feminist, so I'm gonna leave you.
Well, you know what your cooking isn't? It can never be McDonald's. It can never be McDonald's chicken nuggets.
Yeah, but it's better than that stupid steak and shake it down the road.
That's it. I can't deal with this anymore.
You know what? Go back into your closet. Go back. Lock yourself away. Me and Michael, we're gonna go to Red Robin's and get those endless fries. Come on, Michael. Let's go.
I don't know if me leaving the call came up on stream.
I didn't hear it.
Oh man.
I don't have that turned on. Hang on.
My joke was ruined. I'm shaking and crying right now.
I don't have that turned on. What's that under?
No, no, you don't have to turn that on.
No, I'm gonna turn it off for next time.
Okay.
User. No, I have user leave.
Congratulations, you just listened to Rant.
I don't have. It's on, but it's not. Cringe.
This is the power of the mind subconscious.
Anyway, let's just get back to the timeline.
Locked inside of his
Thank
office
you.
made sense. He'd been
So
here
hey,
the
how's
entire
being 15 minutes past your birthday going for you?
It's going great. You know what? I'm getting my birthday wish.
Yeah.
Just streaming. We have like how much? We're
You
gonna be
have
here for another hour.
Where was here though? Was this Circus
It's
Baby's
not
entertainment
that
and rentals?
long.
The Circus Baby restaurant
You're right,
always
we've
did
done
seem
worse.
to be a deeply personal project
Yeah.
for father. A failure of
We
his
stayed
that
up
cut
We
till
the
still need to do the 4-hour marathon of the
Had to be
baby
closed
game.
prematurely
That's actually
due to the
after
gas
this.
leaks. After that day,
Oh,
father
no.
really did
It's
seem
not.
to
I would like
change,
sleep.
to lose himself even
Same
more in
here.
his work. Clearly, the entrance he had found was some sort of secret back way into the facility, one that
I think
required
Infinity
crawling
went to
through
sleep.
vents to navigate. His father had been working there. Why? At the end of the facility, Circus Baby, his father's pride and joy. Except something was different.
Something was different. They don't have any legendary heroes down here.
That's horrible. How could that?
Different about her. She wasn't like the others. The way she talked, the stories she told. This wasn't just a robot. She was alive somehow. And not only was she alive.
Okay, but like the plus on her stomach, I always just thought that was like a place you just unscrew to just put the ice cream in.
Somehow.
That's that's like the cooler. That's like how she gives ice cream.
Well, clearly she just needs to give it more.
She's a mimic, I tell you.
And not only was she alive, she also felt familiar.
She knows too
There's
much.
something bad inside of me.
So if a mimic mimics like a human being, can it just like create mouths out of all of its limbs?
It's an alternate at that point. Wait, it's an alternate? Wait, hang on. That means that us.
Like imagine if you can just like hold out your arm, snap it in half, and just like a tongue comes out of your elbow.
You know what? I'm gonna make next time we stream together. I'm gonna make a whole board of how Mandela Catalog's connected to Fnaf, D&D, and now us.
And then Super Smash Brothers, because everything leads back to Super Smash Brothers.
I will find a way. I can't wait for that. I'm gonna do it all in MS Paint too.
Connect it to One Shot somehow too.
Oh, yo, I will figure out a way. Just give me like 2 hours.
Will you help me?
2 hours and a
Sister
graphing
William's
calculator.
baby girl? But how? Why? What was this place? He dug around some old files and found
Welcome to the
outlining
deep dark.
the features
Enjoy
of
your
these
stay.
animatronics, storage containers, voice mimicking, parental tracking. And was that a child in Freddy's
360 pivot.
Look at that. That's the child. That's what I was ranting you about an hour ago.
stomach? Was his father
Oh,
collecting?
no wonder the ESRB
experimenting
gave
on
this game a
kids?
T
Were all the rumors that he'd
rating.
heard throughout his past
It kidnapped their
actually true?
kids.
That the animatronics came to life at night? That there were
Yum, yum.
murders done in all the pizzerias? That his father had somehow been the prime suspect in all of
I
it?
like how
Suddenly,
Bonnie's just
Michael's
standing
mind
there.
flashed back to his persistent nightmares throughout his childhood. Had
Yeah.
he been experimented on too?
He's just a little
Tears
guy.
stung in his eyes as anger, fear, and confusion filled his body. His father's secrets were pouring out. William wasn't just a lame, overworked father. He was a monster, toying with life itself. Suddenly, everything clicked.
He was
frantically looked
thin.
around the room, blinking human heads on poles staring back at him. Green eyes, his sister. Blue eyes, his brother. Closed eyes,
I love
his mom.
human
All
heads.
just staring expectantly. These were meant to be human. William was working down here trying to make believable humans, literally rebuilding
They
the
make the
family
funny
that they had
noise.
both lost. The small little girl robots with their British accents roaming the
the
hallways of
British.
this underground facility suddenly took on a whole new context.
We must summon the French to defeat them.
Were those meant to be his sister? A replacement for her? A clone? Was William building clones of his sister? They seemed to know
Yeah.
him, after all, to react to his presence.
They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you.
He always did have a bit of a resemblance to his
SMH.
father. Michael's mind reeled as the reality of his world crumbled to dust. No, he had to get them out of there. If this really was his sister, heck, if any of these things were human, souls, whatever remnant of the humans that they once were, they needed to be rescued.
They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here.
Led by the voice of Circus Baby, he marched through the now empty halls of the Funtime Auditorium. He would lead them. He would protect them. And finally, he would be able to forgive himself for
He
the
is the
killing of
knight
his
in
brother
shining
so
armor.
But what's he roll for defense?
many years.
A 1. Dead.
7.
In the scooping room
Oh,
now.
okay. So he gets
The scooper only
a 5, I
hurts for a
think? Would that be
moment.
the average?
Scooper?
Yeah.
That violent extraction arm? Michael had seen that one in the pile of blueprints. Something about heat rendering the magical silver metal
Yummy.
inside useless. In reality, prior
issue.
to getting himself spring-locked and put behind the wall, William's
want
methods had
ice
become
cream.
increasingly sophisticated, with a mechanized
Well,
arm
just
that
go
could
up to
infuse
baby.
new
I
bodies
hear
with the
she
soul.
has some ice
William
cream.
could finally give and take
have
away
ice cream
life. The only thing
downstairs
he
that I could go
needed were the
get.
bodies. But William wasn't the only one looking for bodies.
I mean,
as
I got
Michael
Dum
was
Dums
about to
right
learn.
here that's kind of like ice cream.
You.
I'll take him.
Okay. I'm just gonna slap them across the screen.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Welk.
Nom 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 nom.
Yum.
Hey, don't touch my don't touch him. Don't mind.
Fine.
I don't like how he just has like a hose thing right here.
A hose?
A hose knob. Nom 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 nom. Like he has like you know like when you're turning on a hose and you have to like turn the faucet knob. That.
It's a valve.
Is this what you've been waiting for? Say 1, 2, and 4.
Hi again. I'm Gabe N.
Fan of shooters, wizard of computers, and a handsome man.
Your grandfather used to blather about 1,000 years ago.
So this is apparently called a Valve, and Valve is the creator of Steam, and they can't count to 4. And because they can't count to 4, there's
You mean 3?
Yes, I mean 3.
Coco, do we need to have a math lesson again?
No, please, please, I can't do another session. Speaking of which, I gotta do my pre-cal tomorrow. Hey, you free tomorrow? Or free tonight?
Sure.
Yo.
Then we could hide. If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go.
Michael was going to be the hero to help these animatronics.
love
all right.
Michael.
Imagine
He was gonna
wanting
help
somewhere to
haunted
go.
tubes
Can't
and wires
relate.
of these animatronics
Don't you
escape,
wanna go
just
to
not in the way that
redacted?
he anticipated. His sister had
Aw,
lied to
heck
him.
nah.
Another game of pretend. The scooper plowed forward, digging its extraction arm into his body. As he heard his bones ripping through his flesh, Michael
I didn't mess up.
But
So
something is
nothing.
wrong with me.
Yo, I love it when bones rip through my flesh.
Nom 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 nom. Oh, he's got pretty eyes.
For the next several months, Michael's life was not his own.
I
He was
love
forced
it
to
when
comply with the
eyes
tangle of
are
wires and spirits
pretty.
that lived inside of him. His body felt like an
Plaguing
overfilled balloon
moment.
begging to burst as day by day,
Look at
week
him
by
go.
week,
He's
his
just
flesh began
jamming.
to sag
Ba
and
ba da
discolor.
ba
He
da
was a
ba
walking,
da ba
talking,
da
rotting corpse. At his best, to conceal his fate, there was only so much a man filled with robot spaghetti could do. The entity in his innards.
That's not the kind of spaghetti your wife would be making.
It's the kind of spaghetti William would approve of.
But it's not my spaghetti. You know what? I went to Olive Garden, learned their great techniques, but you said no.
Olive
no.
Garden smells.
You smell. You don't. I even learned how to make their breadsticks, but no, you want to have robot spaghetti because it tastes authentic and exotic.
It tastes like the real thing. Have you never eaten Wally animatronics before?
No.
Comes straight from Disney World.
No. You need to go back to your therapist. He's worried about you. Henry's worried about you. I'm worried about you.
I ate my therapist. He's a robot now.
911, what's your emergency?
Sir, there is a child, vomiting robot spaghetti outside my house.
This is a great place to pause.
Would eventually leave, but by that point the damage had been done. His decaying flesh stank, turning him into a literal
Never be worried.
But still, even with no bones, even with
Vomits
rotting
out
purple flesh
water,
and begging to die, Michael continued.
vomits
to live.
out
Silvery metal
spaghetti,
remnant
refuses
injected by
to
the snooper
elaborate
meant that he
further
couldn't
needs.
die. His anger also refused to die. What he had seen down there in his sister's location had rocked him to his core. His father had killed and captured dozens. His experiments had killed
no,
his
he's
sister
turning
and
into
then
Red Guy.
tortured him throughout all his childhood.
Oh
He was
no,
actively
soon
trying
he's
to
gonna
build
turn
human
into blue
replicates.
guy.
He didn't know where his father was, but Michael knew that he was out there somewhere.
I've been living in shadows. There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you.
Michael had to correct for the sins of his father. He had to make things right. Michael...
Angry man.
No, thank you. I'm not really interested in this.
I hate K-pop.
Hey, actually, I listen to one K-pop song.
I buy the same products you do,
Yo.
only I get them.
K-pop has been
I save
ruined
hundreds of
by
dollars a month
Twitter.
by doing this one simple trick
Hang
that I'm
on.
about to show
I
you.
want to learn this
Don't
one
spend
simple
another
trick.
dime.
would burn Fazbear Entertainment
Well, they
to the
support
ground.
AirPods,
I mean, what
so
else could you do
they're
when your
bad.
skin was permanently
Hey, I have
purple?
AirPods.
Michael's strategy was simple. He would apply for night security guard positions at the old
Don't you love it when your
pizzeria
skin is
locations.
permanently
that way, no one
purple?
ever had to see him or
Yummy.
smell him during his shift.
Oh,
and all
no, it's
these
just
old
cosplay.
shuttered
It's just face paint.
locations did need guards.
Yeah.
Teenage vandals and squatters were always looking to get
Oh, I
inside
have
these
that book.
abandoned buildings,
I have
and
that
yet no one
Silverized
ever really
comic.
wanted to work an overnight
Yeah, I
graveyard
love
shift
the
unless they were
Silver Rights.
practically out of options. Enter
Oh, I love having
One
rights.
by one, he would take on the job of security guard.
Hi,
changing
I'm
his
Saul
name
Goodman.
each
Did
time
you
to
know that
ensure
you have
no one was
rights?
able to follow his paper trail. Once inside, he could tamper with the animatronics and
Beep,
figure
beep,
out
beep,
how they
beep,
worked,
beep,
writing
beep,
about
beep,
his
beep,
experiences in
beep,
his
beep,
security
beep,
logbook.
beep,
While
beep,
there, he
beep.
would listen to the old
Boop, boop.
tapes where upper management awkwardly welcomed new recruits to their summer jobs, even though he was working there nowhere near the summer months. He heard the gory details of his father's franchise from the outsiders looking in,
On the
confused and afraid
outside,
about what was
always
happening in the
looking
walls
in,
around
will
them.
I
Sometimes he
ever
would see his
be
brother in the
more
form of the
than I've
golden Freddy
always
suit.
been,
It's
'cause
me
I'm
appearing on the walls
tempted.
around him. Except now, there was something else
I
there.
feel like we're
He
gonna
was
get
no
so much
longer alone.
copyright.
Another angrier presence was also in the suit. As if
Never
two
gonna
spirits were
give
forced to
you
share the
up
same
and never
body.
gonna
Golden
let
Freddy would attack
you
anyone.
down.
It was aggressive. Its vengeance wanted to lash out at
No, no,
anyone
no,
with
no.
the
That
after
reminds me
anyone who wore a
of one of my
security
kids.
guard
I
outfit.
don't know which
Over
one,
time,
but
Mike
it
worked his
reminds me
way
of
through
one
the
of them.
old restaurants,
Chonky
the original
You'll
pizzeria
never
with
see
bigger,
it
better Freddy Fazbear's.
coming.
He spent weeks there looking for clues as to his father's whereabouts. And each time at the end of his week shift, he would then set the location on fire. Remnant
This
can't survive high
pizzeria,
temperatures
it's on
after all. So
fire.
burning away whatever spirit-laden animatronics that still existed inside seemed
This
like a winning
pizzeria
strategy.
is on
All this
fire.
revisiting of his past, though, was causing the nightmares to begin again.
I don't think that's
Hallucinations that
normal
brought him
for
back to his
pizzerias to
childhood.
do.
The guilt around killing his brother. His dreams were oddly mixed with the shrill phone calls of the security guards.
Bring, bring,
but it
bring,
would
bring.
all be worth it in the end. The goal
Bring,
was
bring,
to eventually,
bring, bring.
eventually stumble
Hi,
across the
we're
one
calling about your
location.
car's extended warranty and the pots that you ordered.
Your Michael's extended warranty.
Did I hear Pokemon?
Oh yeah, I'm playing Pokemon right now.
I heard the faint click. I was like, are you really? While we're streaming? Really? My stars. I'm streaming, confused out of my life. People are watching this and you're just playing Pokemon? Wow, I see.
But I mean, I can multitask, and also Purple Guy is essential to Pokemon lore, obviously.
The one job that would finally reunite him with his father.
believe
Little
you.
did Mike know that that day would come
Oh, I
sooner
can
than
believe me,
expected.
but can you?
2023, an advertisement came across Mike's
Spooky,
TV.
scary
Fazbear
skeletons
Frights,
and
new horror
shivers
attraction
down your
inspired by the
spine.
awful
Shock
crimes that
and
occurred
awe.
around Freddy Fazbear's
Terrifying.
years ago. It made Mike sick.
Wait, was that
People
Audrey
looking
too? Hang
for
on.
crimes that occurred.
That's not Audrey 2. I thought that plant was Audrey 2. I got really excited because I love
Yo, I
Audrey.
love
Freddy
Audrey
Fazbear's
the
pizza
second.
So many years ago, it made Mike sick. People looking to make a quick buck off the tragedy of others, off his own family.
plus
This
ratio.
wasn't a joke or entertainment. Regardless, he had to be a part of it. If this team was combing through his family's history, they might stumble across something that could be useful. And if his father was truly still alive as he suspected, there would be no way that he wouldn't show up here. Maybe finally, this could
I
be
like
the
how
final
his
chapter
right
in his
arm
family's
is
marathon of
longer than
tragedy.
his
Mike
left.
applied for the job and was immediately
just
handed
called
the keys.
perspective.
Years of doing this had taught him that security guards guards
I
rarely
hate
received
perspective.
thorough security checks. They also liked how creepy Mike looked. They
That's
thought
why I
it was
cut out my
busted.
eyes. I don't
On
like
theme
depth
for the
perception.
Job. What little they knew.
Hey, glad you came back for another night. I promise
You know.
it'll be a lot more interesting this time.
For weeks, there was nothing. But just as Mike considered giving up, he received the call that he'd been waiting for years.
You're not gonna believe this. We
Bring, banana phone, banana
Could this
phone.
finally be him? Sure enough, there he was. William inside his
Hi, Dad.
iconic
I missed
golden
you.
Bonnie springlock suit.
Hi.
His green and decaying
I got you
I see you're going
spaghetti.
through a midlife
Small
crisis.
family of broken men.
Yeah, I brought you that spaghetti that you made.
Oh, heck yeah, I love robot spaghetti.
Yeah, it was in that emergency location you had, which I have many questions, but that spaghetti was actually pretty good. I did vomit it.
Oh yeah,
but
oh yeah, sorry, I should have told you, that's my man cave.
I was never invited? Wow. I see.
Nah, sorry. I didn't trust you to ruin my League of Legends games.
I would have ruined your Apex if I knew that. Or I was
I
gonna
don't
delete
play
your
at
Mario 60.
Apex. I am an epic gamer.
I would have
TM.
deleted
I only
all
play
your Mario
League of
64
Legends.
games. Oh.
Yeah.
I would have. We could have played together. We could have been like father-son duo. We could have won. We could have been the best there ever was.
No,
but
I
one ever
spent my life savings on League of Legends skins.
Dad, that's not healthy. Does Mom know? Did Mom know?
No. She would never bring me back if she knew that I spent $200,000 on the Teemo Christmas skin.
Bring you back? But Mom said that you couldn't. That you wouldn't. You refused to divorce.
Yeah. I didn't want a divorce because then I wouldn't have. I wouldn't be married anymore.
So, did you even pay child support for me?
No, we never divorced.
So Mom she paid rent. She just took care of everything. Hello.
Yeah, obviously. I became her landlord.
Dad, you don't have that type of skill.
Sure I do. I have the skill to become a mortal. Who says I can't be a landlord?
You know what? Dad, I'm gonna disown you after I hit play.
One disown their own father.
It's been a long time, Dad.
Just
Mike
say
had
you're not my
always
dad.
struggled with the phantoms of his past.
Okay,
haunting
fair
him.
enough.
Now,
Have a great
all the
day.
animatronics he'd encountered over the past months, hopping from pizzeria to pizzeria, suddenly sprang to life. Their burned faces
Phantom
haunting him as he
secret
tried to keep
jump
track of his
scares so
father on the
stupid.
cameras. It would seem that
Nom,
William's
nom, nom.
mere presence had put the
Yum, yum.
spirits on high alert.
I
Ultimately,
have
they were
napkins
harmless, more
of
annoying
Fnaf.
than anything
I
else.
need
But
to
there
use
was
I love
one that felt
napkins.
different from the others. One that was more than
Fnafkins?
just a mere phantom. The security
Fnaf.
guard. If he looked at the
They're like
cameras at just the
webkins,
right moment,
but
he could see
Fnaf.
it floating there through the
Yeah.
halls. He could even see its
Oh, I would
reflection in
play
the
that.
water pooled on the ground. It would seem like he wasn't the only one there.
Oh
on
my
a mission.
God, it
While
has
he
a
was dealing with
reflection.
Springtrap, Michael assumed that this one was
It
likely
was my
dealing with
birthday
the
yesterday.
spirits of this place, finally setting him to rest. Hopefully this means a happier day for all of us, Mike thought to himself. And in that moment, he felt the air around
Yesterday.
him
It
release,
feels
like
so long
pressure
ago,
being
it was
let out
like
of
a
bottle.
memory.
The building sighed, as if 5 spirits had finally been allowed to move on. He had the sense that his brother was a part of them. He rigged the wiring inside the building to misfire, and the dry, desiccated walls erupted
This
in flames.
pizzeria is on
It
fire.
is finished.
Really good, Mama.
Actually, it's a haunted house.
Except it was not. Somehow, through sheer force of will, Afton remained. He had survived, and Mike would need to find a
By
new
sheer
motivation
lazy
of his
writing.
father. Luckily, the solution would present itself later that year. Not from Mike, but from another victim that had been left in his father's wake.
We're talking about becoming a Fazbear Entertainment franchisee. Restaurant
Aw,
ownership
heck yeah.
and management. Something almost anyone can do with a limited degree of success. You are now the face of the newly rebranded Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Fazbear Entertainment as a brand had been closed
Yeah.
for years. William had been stuck in a suit and a wall. The only person who legally could bring the franchise back was Henry, but he'd largely pulled out of the franchise around the time of his father's disappearance. Something was
I'm
up.
outta here.
Surely this had to be some kind of a trick, right? Mike, doing what he did best, applied for a franchise and immediately got the job. There was just
What an
one
icon.
thing out of the ordinary. Paragraph 4.
If you are
Face
playing
with the
this
raised
game,
eyebrow
that
emoji.
Not only have you been checking outside at the end of every shift, as you were instructed to do, but also that you
Alright,
have found something
bye.
that meets the criteria of your special obligations under paragraph 4.
No employment contract he'd ever signed required him to keep special lookout for independently moving animatronics outside the restaurant. Now he knew
Lefty, I
something
forgot
was up
about
here.
him.
Henry was luring them all back.
Lefty,
Rather than trying
my
to go to
beloved.
them, like Mike had done for years, Henry was doing the opposite. He was putting them all under the same roof. He was finishing them off for good. Mike knew this wasn't meant to be a restaurant. It was meant to be a prison.
He was going to do a bit of
locked box meant to
murder.
trap them all in so they could finally end the madness. It took a few nights, but eventually everyone was there. His father, the puppet, the robot spaghetti that had once violated his body.
The robot spaghetti is canon.
Dad, you cannot be eating that. That does not look healthy. That's not nutritious.
It brings out my carbs.
It brings them out? Dad.
Yes.
Dad,
It
Dad,
absorbs my calories.
Dad, you're gonna die, and then you're not gonna come back.
I'm already dead. What more can I lose?
Me? What about... Oh my God.
You're dead too.
No, I'm not. No. No, I can't die. I'm the main character. Main character can't die. This
You
isn't
died
Hamilton.
like... I think you died like 5 minutes ago in this video.
Hang on. No,
Oh, sorry. It was a little over 5 minutes ago.
you don't even know my death. I'm not, I don't, I can't, I would never die. Dead.
Look, I've lost track of time. I got sealed in a room for 30 years.
That sounds like a you problem. Why didn't you just be better? You could have just not killed.
Sorry, I was kind of on the ground bleeding to death. It's kind of hard to move during that.
Oh, yeah, sure. Face your inner demons. Go do that and just leave your son to just...
I already did. They're the ones who locked me in a room for 30 years.
You left me and Mom. You know what happened to Mom? I don't know what happened to Mom.
Oh, you will find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball
I
Z.
hate you.
And his sister, now hopelessly devoted to serve the man that had once gotten her killed. It was time. He had been instructed to seal
Maybe
the
it looks
doors
like
and
he's
leave,
doing
but
the
while he
troll
locked everything
face in
down,
that
he didn't
screen
move
cap.
on. If this was truly meant to be the end, if the remnant needed to be washed away, he needed to be a part of that.
This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned
Although there was a
for you,
way
I have
out
feeling
planned
that's
for
not
you.
what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still and give up your spirits. They don't...
No, Sprite!
Give up your sprite. It doesn't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps coke waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of monster energy has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the lawsuits waiting, old friend.
Boop.
They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is
They don't
peace and perhaps more waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of
Release
hell
their
has
sprites
opened
into the world.
Not this. Are they the Pokemon sprites?
And with that, it was over. The Afton legacy died
No.
with all of them trapped
The dev
inside
just
of a
misspelled
literal
spirit.
box. As the flames danced around the office, Mike, for the first time in decades, was happy. But William wasn't gone yet. Although the darkest pit of hell was open and waiting for him, something or someone wouldn't allow him to move on. Instead, he found himself locked in moments from his past.
It's
Pizzeria,
called
his son's room,
The
his underground
Writers of the
bunker. It was as if
Game.
his brain's neurons were all firing at once, overloaded, mixing and matching all his biggest fears, regrets, failures. What was this place? How did he get
Wasn't
here?
his brain
Called out
eaten
into
by
the silence.
robot spaghetti like 20 minutes ago?
Then they
I don't
started
know.
coming. Without warning, animatronics, both new and old, began to jump out at him, bite
Boom.
him, rip him limb from limb. The pain was immeasurable. Make it stop! Make it stop!
stop.
William, for the first time, longed for death, an end to this torture. Just as it felt like he couldn't take it anymore, everything was quiet again.
Tickle
It was
him.
as if the world
Tickle
had
him.
been reset. There was a brief moment of quiet, and then the onslaught began again. Dozens of faces from his past, all focused on him. A waking nightmare that he couldn't escape
And
from.
then, like, an
More
anime
pain, more
series going
ripping.
on in
It
the
was his
background.
own personal hell, but why? Why couldn't he just
Two
die?
different
Then he saw
anime
them, a group of characters
series,
he
actually.
never thought he'd see again. Those janky, stolen characters that had started everything. The mediocre melodies. It had all started to go wrong once they showed up. Once Henry had made them. But mixed in with their obnoxious southern drawls, William heard something else. It was
Hi,
barely a whisper, but
I am happy,
Hey,
Fred.
it's me!
He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here. No matter how many times they burn us.
that voice. He knew that voice, but from where?
It's a...
The one he shouldn't have killed. William thought back. He'd done a lot of awful things, but there was always the one that stood
Why
out.
is it
Not
always the
Charlie,
same
his drunken
sprite
act
of
of
a human
revenge. Not
face?
Susie, his first true murder. No. Instead, it was the one that he had lost control with.
No,
The
no,
one
no,
that he
no.
had broken
Just this
beyond repair for
one
no good
where,
reason
where he
other
went a
than because
little
he
bit
could.
too
The one
far.
that
He got a little bit too crazy.
He's just a silly little guy.
stuffed inside the
He's
golden
just
bear
a
that his
funny
partner
little
used to
man.
wear. Cassidy. They were back, and now they were trying to punish him, to make him suffer like he'd made them suffer. It was almost like William and Cassidy's souls had been locked together, fused by a collective rage and spite, each refusing to move on. But while Cassidy was so focused on taking revenge, they actually did the one thing that would be the downfall.
Wait, is she
for
wearing
so
like
many others. They
overalls?
kept William
I just
alive.
noticed
Even
that.
though fire should have destroyed the remnant
think
that was
it's like a
coursing
denim
through his
dress.
being, Cassidy kept William breathing, paving the way for his escape.
The
William's
overlay
will
on that is just
his soul so powerful that he managed to
perfect.
put a part of himself inside the circuitry that housed the spring-locked suit. And there, his consciousness lay, inside a
look at
single
that
circuit
CPU.
board, waiting for
Mm.
someone to find
That's like a
him and
Ryzen
set him
7
free, a
right there.
person that no one
Nice.
would suspect. Okay, so a bit of a shorter chunk, but an important one as we shift perspectives to Mike and tell his side of the story. And with FNAF VR, AR, and Security Breach having so much to explain, I didn't want
my
to rush through
stars.
things by trying to cram it all in here. Don't worry, I
Ju-
know you've all been
just a
patient.
bit
The
to
final video is
explain.
happening on March 25th. That is locked. It is getting ready to go. Trust me, I want
We
this
have
thing to be
another-
Aw,
over
man,
done
we-
as much
we
as you.
missed
I am
the
not
date.
just stretching it out for the viewers.
Bob
But
sagging.
before
We
wrap
can't
up for the
finish the
day, I did want
series
to talk about the big
anymore. It's
orbital
over.
elephant in the room, Mike's quest for revenge. You might
Mike
have
was
noticed
in
that
the
I was
room,
vague about the
what
dates, and there's a good
happened?
reason for that. I don't know
happened?
them. There is no good way for me to make them fit in. Here's what I do know. We
Deal
know
with
with a high
you.
amount of certainty that Michael Afton is the character that we play as up until Ultimate Custom Night. Mike Schmidt and Fritz Smith, the security guards for FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 respectively,
get
get
out.
fired for, quote, tampering with the
Get
animatronics
out.
and odor. So weird
Please.
connection
Now
between the two of them,
get
right? But
out.
now, look at the phantom
Where
animatronics that
are
are
you
haunting us
now?
in FNAF 3. They use models from both
Fancy.
FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, meaning whoever is sitting in that security guard chair, Fazbear Frights, they have to have seen both locations and their animatronics. And that's not all. Their designs are burnt. It's a weird detail in the game, and it's something that the character encyclopedia repeatedly calls attention to. The burned texture for these phantom animatronics.
They
Why is
just
that so
need a
unusual
little
though?
shading.
Fazbear Frights is the first time in the franchise that we
Exactly.
hear about anything burning down. From that point on in the story, it's like the
They're
characters turn
clearly
pyro
just-
and are suddenly setting fires
they-
left
they-
and right.
they
But
just
for the
need some
first three
mascara.
games, nothing ever catches fire. The animatronics are just moved
I
or
like arson.
repurposed in some
Arson's
way.
fun.
So when did they burn? And why would our
Arson
security
is
guards
pretty
see
fun.
them as being burned? Someone
The guards
has to have
won't
been
let me
going
do it
location to
anymore, though,
location,
and
setting
that-
these
and that
places on
frustrates
fire,
me.
purging the sins
Why?
of the past. We know we're definitely playing as Mike
I
and Sister
know,
location in
like,
FNAF 6 based
there-
on the
there's
in-game
no good
dialogue.
reason.
And in FNAF 4, there's an Easter egg where we can hear the phone call from Night 1 of FNAF
Bring,
1,
bring,
meaning that
a
whoever's
bring,
in that
bring.
bedroom has
Bring,
heard
bring,
the
bring, bring,
recording as a
phone call,
security
phone
guard.
call.
We also know that Mike has seen the nightmare
Yellow?
animatronics based on his drawings in the security logbook. So overall,
Look,
there is
it's
solid
Batman.
evidence that connects all of FNAF's
Stuck
1
to
through
Eggman.
6. You'll also notice how the character
Yeah,
encyclopedia
the
doesn't have
Dr.
a page for Mike
Stomach
Afton.
Man.
This thing has a page for Chocolate Bunny Bonnie, but not Michael. Some tells me they don't want us to confirm how many games he's been in, because that would confirm too much of the theory. In short, this gives us an incredibly compelling and complete narrative.
Nice. Yo, I love the Minecraft item editor.
Tinker's
I've always
item
wanted
editor
red
gives you the
sword.
ability to personalize
you
the
didn't
look of
use this
any of
for us Surviving
Minecraft's
the
hundreds of
Island, did you?
items.
No, I used
You can change
MS
an iron
Paint.
sword into a flaming sword.
Yo, I can't wait for
Mike as our
Surviving the Island,
protagonist
the
and
sequel.
William his father as our antagonist. Mike
I can't wait
accidentally
for the
kills his
first
brother
one.
in Fredbear's mouth, which begins our story
Oh,
and
that's
sets
not
William
coming
down
back.
his pathway of destruction. Mike is then haunted by the
Artist
guilt of his
tree.
past and is looking to make things right across the
I was
board.
artist tree.
In Sister Location, he
ranted
learns
about
what
that
his
earlier.
father's been
It
up to
felt
and
great.
realizes what he has to do to correct it. After failing to finish the job in
You
FNAF
ranted
3,
about
he
how artistry changed your life forever.
I think we should bring it back, but do it better.
Yeah, this time we're gonna do it in VR chat.
Honestly, if we got enough people who have a VR chat, I would be down. Just goes quiet, like, you know what? Never mind. We gotta find. That seems like a lot of. How many hours did we spend on creating Surviving the Island?
5.
At least 5 days, I feel like, cause that beach took so long, and
I know.
then we had the island itself, which I added the cave system, which was beautiful. Then
And then you had like World War II in it.
then we had the airplane, and I had this whole thing happening for the mine, and then we had the ship, and then people were built. Oh my gosh, that was. Then we had the side of
Yeah.
the beaches.
Ah,
I should not have
man.
made it a 500 by 500.
Yeah, we should have made it by like 2000 by 2000.
I remember when I made it a 5,000 by like 2,000 though.
Good times.
Ultimately helps Henry end it all in FNAF 6. It is great. It is a clean narrative. There is just one problem: timing. Mike's quest can't really start until he's been down to sister location, seen baby, and gotten himself scooped. That's when he finds out about Afton's secret life. It's also when he's gonna start to smell, because, you know, he's a walking, talking, rotting corpse. And we know that he's not going down into the bunker until the Funtime animatronics have been made, Freddy's has been closed, and Afton is out of the picture. That all should be happening post 1993, after William is sealed behind a wall. But that then presents us with a few problems. Afton has already dismantled the original animatronics as we see in the FNAF 3 minigames. How are those things getting burned if they're already deconstructed? But more importantly, we see FNAF 2 paychecks with the date 1987. That is way earlier than I think it can be. To be fair, Fritz Smith's pink slip on night 7 doesn't have a date, but it's a bit weird to say that the first few nights are in 1987 and then employee number 3 is hired on years after the restaurant closes. Anyway, just wanted to call that out because I don't have a solid answer for it, and I'd love to see your comments down below. And with that, my friends, this chapter comes to a close. We'll see you on March 25th for the grand finale as we cover the final 3 games in the franchise and the controversial answers we think solves what those games were trying to tell us. Until then, my Faz heads, remember, even though Afton kinda succeeded in being brought back to life, gotta admit, he's still looking a little bit on the dry, dehydrated side.
I don't care about hydration. Sorry to anyone who's yeah, okay.
Introducing
Anyway.
New Starry Lemon Lime Soda.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, and the final part of my FNAF timeline, where today we're bringing our story to a close by talking about the most complicated and controversial part of the timeline, the part that I've been dreading most of all, the end.
What?
I love controversy.
You smell like chicken. I do have water, but thank you. I'm actually almost out of water. Do I go get more?
Gonna be honest, I think we should just stick through it and just finish this.
Great, we have 30 more minutes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Moment where we're finally forced to come to some definitive and difficult answers trying to explain what the heck we were watching in Security Breach. The last 2 episodes have been about death. The death of Afton's family, the deaths of multiple children, the death of the franchise itself as Mike and Henry figuratively and literally burn it all down. Today's episode, though, and the current end of this franchise, is instead all about rebirth. The return of old characters in new forms, and the controversial rebirth of a franchise entering the next era of its story. But before we hop into the timeline, due to scheduling conflicts, I won't be able to have any live talk back after this episode. I know, I promised one, I was really excited about it, but I just couldn't make it work with my schedule and all the other guests' schedules. That said, I still do plan on doing one over the coming weeks with special guests. Just make sure that you're subscribed and either have all notifications turned on, or you're just watching our community tab for the announcement as to when that's gonna happen. And now, without any further ado,
imagine
we
not
finally
being
reached the
subscribed.
end and a new beginning to our story. Fazbear Entertainment was dead.
There is no need for you to return to work next week, as Fazbear Entertainment is no longer a corporate entity.
All debts had been paid, all
Skill
assets
issue.
redistributed. The company was outright dissolved. Even the memories of the horrors that had happened there started to fade away in the public consciousness. The people were gone too. William was dead. Henry was gone. A whole generation of young Emilys
Wholesome.
and Aftons had lost their lives to the horrors of the pizzeria. All of them collateral damage to the man in the bunny suit. Everyone the company had ever touched was
That's why
dead
we
and
should make
gone.
bunnies extinct.
Well, all except
Yeah.
Pay your child support, you deadbeats! I'm keeping the diamond ring. I also set the house on fire!
Clara Afton. She'd been there in the early days.
The
Back when
house?
things with William were
Ha.
good. They'd had the perfect...
You should have accepted my spaghetti.
No. I may be in purgatory, but I refuse to eat your spaghetti.
Why? I went to Italy. I became a 5-star chef. Gordon Ramsay even gave me
You
5
should
stars.
become a 7-star chef.
How could you?
home, a thriving business, the ideal family. But shortly after their youngest son died, things started to change. William had become distant, lost in his work, obsessive. She had watched him change from this irritatingly brilliant man that she had fallen in love with to a drunken monster struggling to hold himself together. And despite her trying to reach out to him in those desperate days, he was just too far gone.
Let me make you spaghetti.
No. I'd rather drink alcoholic spaghetti.
This is why we're getting a divorce. I found a better man that will eat my
I
spaghetti.
don't consent to the divorce!
D-Bad, he's a better man. He treats me right, and his name's Papyrus. He likes my spaghetti.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough. Papyrus is a cool guy. How about... Okay, how about instead I just be your landlord? Then we can have a divorce.
Okay, fine. I can work with that.
Okay, cool.
Do you mind if he lives with us?
Yeah, sure. I'll just
Alright.
be in the basement.
It's gonna be like Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, because Diego's ex-wife lived in their house. Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, I don't speak Italian.
I was literally speaking English. Honey. This is why we're getting a divorce. You never listen to me.
Sorry, I don't speak wife. Sea is an empty womb.
Womb?
How much?
Admit it, you wanted to let me in.
For her sake, she had to leave the relationship. And from
Oh,
there,
well.
she largely faded into obscurity. A mystery from
You know what?
William's
You can
past.
keep
A
Michael.
footnote in his history. And that was fine for her. She
Yeah,
wanted to leave that part
okay.
of her life behind. She tried to
I'm
move
gonna
forward,
throw
never
him into
wanting
the
to hear
ocean.
the name Freddy Fazbear again. A time defined by mistakes and broken promises. But then,
I'm
the
picking the
paperwork
flower
started
cannon.
to arrive. As Fazbear
Okay,
Entertainment
cool.
began to close as a corporate entity, suddenly her mail was
You can have the
flooded with
entire company
notifications,
if you want.
requests, obligations. She had been there since the beginning, helping
I really
William in the
want it.
early days of his business. And now, as a shareholder and sole living member of the Afton family, all
Too bad.
copyrights and trademarks of both Afton Robotics and Fazbear Entertainment passed on to her. Memories of this past life that she had long left behind. Looking at the blueprints, the contracts, the memos, she felt old wounds begin to reopen. The regrets of a happy family that had been torn away from her. William had always been brilliant. That's what had attracted her to him in the first place. But he'd also been too blinded by obsession and pride. He was too jealous.
My
too
design
petty,
do
too
not see.
unable to actually see a bigger picture.
I'm gonna
But
steal
now,
his OC.
holding the paperwork that contained
And then I'm
decades
gonna
of
copyright it.
heartbreaking
Billy
trauma,
Afton
she
is an avid
realized it was her turn. She was
user.
holding the power.
Mm-hmm,
This was her chance. And
Yep,
one
yep.
thought resonated in her head. I will put them back together. I will put them all back together. She would be the one to rebuild this
Okay.
family. To
I think
rebuild
You're the
that
one.
What?
You're the one.
I think I love her. She's great. Iconic queen. But I don't think she has the skills unless she's been secretly taking notes. Oh, you missed. Wait, were you here when we talked about the Afton family? He wasn't here when we talked about the Afton family. That was literally video 2. You came like right in between that. Oh my gosh. The SCP,
Look, this is.
they're dealing with the
Oh my gosh. Look, William Afton has already had to deal with the SCP Foundation. Look, He's not going to give up his elevator no matter how anomalous it is.
And they're dealing with the alternates in Wisconsin. Or was it It was Wisconsin because I thought it was Wyoming.
No, it was Utah.
It was not.
Oh wait,
no, it was Wisconsin.
Oh wait, no, we're talking about Mandela catalog now. Okay.
No, it was.
I'm tired. We need to finish.
It was a mission. No, wait, no, it's Wisconsin.
Of that
Wisconsin.
shattered life to reclaim the kids
I
that
love-
Fazbear had stolen from her. But how?
Or was
I
it
love
Minnesota?
Indiana.
Now laid
I
out
think it was
before her, she
Minnesota.
knew that he had been on.
No, it was Rhode
something
Island.
Remnant, robotic humanoids, digital conscience transference. The pieces were
New
all in
Mexico?
place. They were just scattered, fragmented. It was almost like there were too many ideas going in too many different directions. It was such an important idea that she reiterated that point to herself. There were too many ideas going in too many different directions. That said, there had to be a way to save it
I
all.
don't
She
like how
just
it got
needed to put
closer.
it all back together. But how? To rebuild
She
her
just
family,
wanted to
she would
emphasize
first
that.
need to rebuild the franchise that had stolen them away from her. With ownership over the characters, their licenses, the technology patents, and the Fazbear name, she converted the corporation back to an LLC, a structure for smaller businesses that are
Monochrome
usually
Freddy.
family-owned. The irony was
I
fitting.
thought this
From
was
there,
flirting.
she would
I was like,
Remnant,
whoa.
and lots of it.
The
Remnant
irony
the
was
key.
flirting.
Clearly, in the later years of his life, William had been using Circus Babies Entertainment and Rentals as a remnant farm, sending robots to kids' birthday parties in the hopes of nabbing bits of the stuff here and there. But clearly, it wasn't enough. He had, what, like 4, maybe
It
5
clearly
animatronics
wasn't
going out
enough.
every week? No. It was a decent idea, but to get the remnant they required, it needed scale. Dozens, hundreds of animatronics all out there,
Yo, I
all
love
gathering
scales.
remnant from unsuspecting customers. But to do that,
That was
would
a heavy
require help,
joke.
something William would
Yep.
never ask for. William had kept everything in-house.
It
His
was off the
obsession with
scale.
control limited him. Clara, though, she wasn't nearly that precious. A plan like this
We're
required
tipping the
partners,
scales
people
on this.
outside of Fazbear to do the heavy lifting. So she contacted a mid-sized delivery company, DLZ Shipping Solutions, to help build replicas of all the original animatronics. And with meal delivery apps being all the rage, why not an animatronic delivery service? Order one to celebrate your birthday, your Halloween party. How about a 4th of July picnic? We'll invite Liberty Chica and 4th of July Freddy
I
on
see the
over. She would
Liberty
make sure that they
Chica
made
plush
skins for
so
every
often, and
occasion.
I'm being
Chocolate
so
bonnies for Easter.
Okay, so remnant is collected pretty much when a kid dies and it possesses an animatronic. The metal inside of it is like infused with secret soul sauce. And then the metal can do wacky, uncharacteristic things, like become robot spaghetti. Yeah.
Alright, essentially, it's like the or like the soul of someone. Like when a child is killed, it's essentially like you can grab the soul, you can collect it. It's like Luigi's Mansion. Like you know how like Luigi he got a vacuum? Yeah, well we got animatronics instead. I think. I don't know. I haven't played Luigi's Mansion. But what I know.
Man, my favorite part of Luigi's Mansion 3 was when he brought in a robotic bear to eat King Boo.
We're just gonna continue on.
Please.
Shamrock Freddy's for St. Patrick's Day, Dia de las Muertes.
Welcome, baby, to the world of
Dia de los Muertos
Plant-tastic.
Chica.
Gerber's
Run.
first range of plant protein recipes for little ones, made from yummy
Yo, I love
beans,
protein
grains,
for little
and
ones.
veggies. Make their world plant-tastic.
I don't want this.
Mr. Johnson, I don't want this.
You bad Carolyn. Robot time.
Yeah, pour it into my computer. I don't care.
Muertos Chicas. And thus, the Fazbear Funtime service was born.
That's right. With the Fazbear Funtime service, you'll never be
Hi,
alone.
Markiplier.
You'll always have someone watching your
Is that the bite
Was it
of
ridiculous?
87?
Absolutely.
No, that
For
was the bite
sellout?
of 20.
No doubt. It was exactly the sort of thing that
I love
William
this
would have
steampunk,
hated, but it
series.
needed to be done to get
My-
enough
my-
Yeah, I
remnants.
love-
Normally, the novelty of ordering an
I love
animatronic
Steamy
wore off
Puppy.
after like what, one,
like the
maybe
ice
two
series as
times.
well.
But with new skins for new
Yeah,
holidays,
the
suddenly
ice
you had yourself an animatronic perfect for
I
every
like the
occasion. It would keep
implication
people
that
hooked. It would keep them
seeing a
ordering the latest
murderous
and greatest that
animatronic try
Fazbear
to kill you has a novelty that wears off after a couple of times.
You know, that's just how it is. You see,
Yeah,
pyramid?
you know.
Pyramid schemes, obviously.
LLC
hell
had to
no, this
offer,
is
and
just a
all the
pyramid
while they'd be collecting and
I mean,
returning the
what do you
remnant back
expect
to
from
her.
William?
In a word,
Fazbear
it
in
was
entertainment is an
brilliant. There was just
MLM.
one problem with it. No one trusted the Fazbear name. The company's brand was still mud in the public eye. No one would want to hire animatronics
Skill
from the
issue.
restaurant franchise known for murdering children. Nothing kills a party quite like the threat of death, you know. So she needed to
No,
find
that
a way
just
to
makes it
discredit
better.
the stories that had come before. She needed to win back the public's affections, reactivate some nostalgia for the spooky stories of their childhoods. She needed a game. Multiple games, in fact.
They lied to us. They lied to all of us. They told us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer. But that's not true at all. Those indie games were designed to conceal and make light of what happened. This isn't just an attempt to rebrand. It's an elaborate cover-up.
Struggling game developers were a dime a dozen online, most working on their magnum opus between shifts at the Dollar General. So she found one. Steve just picked him out of obscurity.
Hi,
Right mix of
Steve.
desperate and doofus,
Yo,
willing to
it's-
say and
it's-
do
what's his
anything
name?
for a
Scott
couple extra
Cawthon.
bucks. And he fell right
No, I
in
love
line,
Steve.
as expected, delivering stupid
Steve,
little
live
things with
Steve
dumb
reaction.
generic names like Mangle's Quest, Balloon Boy's Air Adventure, Five
Steve
Nights
is
at
the
Freddy's.
greatest man
Bad
to
gameplay
ever.
with even worse graphics, but hey, they got the job done. People were suddenly talking about the clues inside of these things, searching for the hidden lore. They were actively making jokes about dead kids at pizzerias. Her husband's twisted history of serial murder had suddenly been
Imagine
reduced to a
dead
mere
kids
Nancy
at a
Drew mystery to be
pizzeria.
solved.
This post was made
Plan
by the
had worked.
dead kids
Freddy
at the salad
Fazbear's
bar
was suddenly
gang.
more popular than ever. Things were going shockingly well.
Do you just like the salad bar because of the goldfish?
No, I just like stuffing dead kids inside the lettuce.
Noted. I'm just gonna stick to my jello that's made out of like pork.
How do you know it's made out of pork?
Labeling.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm taking out the goldfish too. You don't get any.
Okay.
Her takeover and reboot of
Oh,
the franchise
plus
was
ratio.
full and complete. Suddenly infused with cash, she built the
Plus
largest, most ambitious project yet, the Mega Pizzaplex. William had always been so visionary, but always thought so small scale. He was careful to a fault. Not her, though. She knew that this latest project needed to be big. It needed to be
Okay, so let's say she would be in her 90s when this is being made, 80s, right? Cause okay, William Afton was like born in the 30s. He's dead. But Elizabeth and his wife, she would at least be in her 70s.
What can
And
I say? Billy Afton marries young.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't just say that. The accidents happened in the 70s, so that could possibly happen. He could be no.
Play the video! Just play the video! We need to move on.
flashy. It needed to be a palace for children, a place that got people talking and checking out the latest
look,
in
My Sweet Jessie
Fazbear
reference.
products. So with a steady supply of
Oh,
remnant
hey.
flowing in, it was
can't
finally
wait
time.
for
The stage
back
was set. It was time to
break.
get to her real goal, literally rebuilding a family. March 2035. The first
So she's at least
was
100.
obvious. Crying child, her little boy, the one that was the
Oh
first
yeah,
to get
why
ripped
do you think she
She
has
had
great
seen down
gray
in his
hair?
bunker that William had gotten very
gosh.
close to replicating artificial humans using animatronic technology. And so that's exactly what she would do. Rebuild her boy from the ground up using robotic parts. His shaggy brown hair, his favorite striped shirt, even down
Imagine,
to
like,
small details that
digging
no
up,
one would
like, a
notice, like the
corpse and,
band-aid
like,
on
just
his left
having
knee.
hair.
William's research had even found ways of making animatronics
And is
that
also
could eat and process
trademark
food,
striped
making
shirt.
them virtually indistinguishable indistinguishable from a typical human. He would never
you
have
love
any idea
virtual
of what he
blood?
actually was unless he was explicitly
It's
told.
yummy.
The only things that could possibly
I
ruin the illusion
know.
were any overrides to his internal systems. If something were to, say, interfere with the cameras that he had in his eyes, or cause some sort of a core reboot to his hard drive, or x-ray his metallic bones, then yeah, he would be exposed. But otherwise, to the outside world, he was just your typical
Heck no, he
normal
got
human boy.
exposed
He
on
worked
Twitter.
down in the bowels of the Pizzaplex, giving him life, but it was one thing to build him, it was another to help him remember his identity. He died so young, so early in their history.
He got
There was
trumpet.
no preserved memories
Nom, nom,
for him,
nom.
no documentation
Yum,
that she
yum,
could just
yum, yum.
download into his digital brain. So bit by bit, she trained him, forcing him to remember who he was. In a corner of the room, she even made a makeshift dinner table, a reminder of their happier
the
days.
thing.
The family recreated. 2 brothers,
It's the
sisters,
family.
the father, and the mother at the head of the table. The
Yeah,
one in
that's
charge,
Gregory.
the one in command, the one bringing all
It's-
of this to
it's
fruition.
Gregory
But
Man.
his progress was admittedly slower than she would have liked. At first, he could only communicate through simple ones and zeros, then rudimentary drawings and crude letters. But bit by bit, images of his past life started to come through. Balloons, colors, houses, bears and faces, birthday parties. All for me. Gregory was alive. As the robot boy embraced her, she felt a warmth that she hadn't in decades.
Gregory lives.
This was the joy that she'd been working towards. This was what it was all for. Her son, back in her arms again. The plan was working. She had to keep going. Next was William. If the family was truly going to be put together, she would need him. And she knew exactly where he was, in the ruins of that old...
Yeah,
Freddy
let's bring
Fazbear's
back the
pizza place
serial
where
killer.
Henry had trapped him. In fact, that's specifically
I mean,
why she
I would
insisted
go
on building the
after
Pizzaplex
my
there over the
husband.
sinkhole. It was the best place to hide what her true intentions
Who
were
never
with the entire
enjoys my
operation.
cooking.
Digging through the wreckage, she found him. He was right where she thought he'd be. Seeing the
Right.
putrid shell of the Springtrap suit, though, was
Yep.
not something she was prepared for. The rotting corpse of William Afton was disgusting. Scorched flesh fused
He's so
with the fur
handsome.
lining. Hollow black
You know what?
sockets
I'm
where
so glad
eyes
this
once
wasn't
were.
in
A smell
Redacted.
that reeked of burned carbon and
Yo, I love
He was
Redacted.
no longer
No,
flesh. It was
we
just
don't
the
talk about
tangled
Redacted.
sinews of a creature that
But
was once
I want to
whole.
talk about it.
How far this
Why?
brilliant man had fallen. It was
Because
clear that her work was
Redacted
cut
is
out for
great.
her on this one. Afton was practically lifeless. The man may not have been able to die, but he was about as close as you could come. And his body would need a lot of reconstruction. Replacement arms and endoskeleton reinforcements were the top priority. Maybe pulled from their new line of glam rock animatronics. She'd have to see if they had any spare Bonnie parts lying around that they could steal. In the meantime, though, she threw the husk that was once her husband into a life support pod infused with aerosolized remnant to help
Because
keep him stable. But more
Redacted
important than recovering his
is
body was
cursed,
recovering
and I
his
made a
mind.
sequel
In
of
his
it,
current
and it's
state, he was
horrible.
comatose,
Don't
an
talk
empty
about it.
shell. Severe brain damage starts at temperatures over 108 degrees Fahrenheit. 42 degrees Celsius, and years
I like
of
how
repeated
that
fires had
implies that
burned
this
his brain.
immortal man
Gone
cannot
was the
survive without
brilliant,
aerosol
frustrating
remnant.
mind that had drawn her to him in the first place. But she had a plan. Unlike her darling boy Gregory, Afton had found ways to record his consciousness. Fundamentally, the brain is only a series of electrical connections after all, so why couldn't you replicate that in the form of a standard circuit board? In essence, you could create a digital consciousness. And one thing she knew about William, he was nothing if not
I'll
cautious.
tell you about
A
Redacted
planner,
later.
someone who had backup plans to his backup plans.
Yo, I love Redacted.
No, I know you do.
I want to eat a Redacted.
Your taxes for you,
No, you don't.
so you can do
Yep.
anything else.
It's that one thing. Do you remember that one story I wrote?
Historically, sauces are either
Oh yeah, I
sweet or
love
spicy,
stories.
But Arby's
Yeah,
new
it's
King's
that
Hawaiian
one.
chicken sandwich is
Yeah.
both. Because
I
Arby's
want to eat
makes
that,
both
but get rid of the sauce.
history and sandwiches.
And
Get rid of the cheese.
yeah, get rid of the cheese. I don't like lots of cheese.
Just make the
Sure enough, there it
cheese
was, buried in
cheese separate.
piles of old animatronic CPUs, a record of Afton himself. But she needed someone to test it.
Someone was definitely here during the night. It had to have been the client. I mean,
He's
they sent us
living
that stuff in
again.
the first place with no explanation, told us to scan it, said it would expedite the process so we wouldn't need to program any pathfinding ourselves.
Unlike the other games that she'd paid to have made in the past, this one had a different purpose. This wasn't about PR, it was about getting William back up and running, spreading his virus to the masses.
You acknowledge that Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for accidental
I
digital
love
consciousness transference,
being
real-world manifestations
spread.
of digital characters.
This
She
is a
hired a new
spoiler for a
developer,
game I haven't
Silver
played yet. Guess
Parasol
gotta
Games,
stop
to
here.
scan the boards and bring her
Aw,
husband into
man.
the system. And
Makes
because
me
of
have
the
to go to
immersive nature
bed
of
now.
VR, William's consciousness would be
faggot.
able to merge with the player,
What
giving
a
him a new
sadness.
body, a new agency. There was just one
probably
complication.
forget about
Afton's
this anyway.
hold wasn't as powerful
Yep.
as she had hoped. He wasn't able to gain complete control. The
Yo,
first trial run,
Innocuous.
Jeremy, was so desperate to escape from his grasp that he sliced his own face off with a paper shredder. Messy. Afton's followers
Aww,
were reluctant, to say
awesome.
the least. But it was the second attempt that looked like it had the potential to kill two birds with one stone. Enter Vanessa. Mrs. Afton wanted
Holy
a surrogate
crap, it's
daughter.
Vanessa.
Her darling Elizabeth would have been a young woman at this point if she had lived. And Clara wanted someone who
She would have
wasn't
been in her
Elizabeth, but could be
50s
just
if she
could
had
she have
lived.
rebuilt her like
A
Gregory?
darling
Sure,
young
but
woman.
She decided against it because she wanted an actual human mother-daughter connection. Well, that, and it would be redundant and narratively unsatisfying to have two robot kids in the same family. What could she say? William had put a lot of tools on the table for her to use, and she was planning on using them all. Plus, Elizabeth
I
had
don't like
always
those
been
eyebrows.
so loyal to Daddy. It was time to give her a second chance, a true choice. And Vanessa seemed to be the perfect candidate to fill the role.
Your dad's name was Bill? Your dad didn't play fair, did he? He used to make your mum look bad in court. He manipulated you.
in
I
court.
know your mum.
Hell no, Vanessa got daddy issues.
She started as a QA tester at Silver Parasol Games, a VR game development company that was part of her plan to bring
What is
back
that?
William. But more importantly, Vanessa checked all the correct boxes. Right age, blonde, green eyes with a fondness for flowers and the outdoors. In many ways, it was her daughter all over again.
The
Except
perfect
it wasn't
human- no,
just
wait,
looks
perfect
and
human being has
personality.
blue
What
eyes.
really mattered was Vanessa's mind. Underconfident,
My bad.
coming from a broken home, motherless, able to be manipulated. Yes. She would do nicely. She would be the one to save
She would
dear
do
old
nicely.
Daddy, just as the real Elizabeth would have wanted.
I will make you proud, Daddy.
While testing the VR game, William's digital consciousness merged with Vanessa. Oh sure, she fought, fragmenting
As you
Afton's
do.
code into a series of tapes hidden across the game, trying to do web searches to regain control over her life, but it wasn't enough. She was weaker
break
than
the
Jeremy.
Oculus.
She was a thrall that, despite
take it off.
occasional moments of lucidity, had
Just
to
break your
obey.
head.
And with Vanessa, it was a 2-for-1 deal. She was getting a daughter back, while also bringing her husband one step closer to reactivation. She just had to make sure that Vanessa was headed the right way. The reborn Gregory was an expert hacker, part of the benefits of being an Afton and a
This reminds
robot.
me of
So
Claire
Clara had him
from
keeping
Carmen
tabs on
Sandiego.
Vanessa, hacking into her emails and trailing her therapy sessions to ensure that
I love
future
hacker
Elizabeth
Gregory.
was falling in line. If any of the therapists started to ask too many questions, they were promptly dismissed from their positions. And while Gregory kept tabs on Vanessa's personal life, Mrs. Afton made sure to clear a path for her professionally. With Silver Parasol's collapse at the hands of the anomaly, she then had the possessed
Hooray.
Vanessa bring the contaminated circuit boards to DLZ shipping and the Fazbear Funtime service. More glitches, more Remnant, more Afton. But it was her last move that
Yay,
was the best.
more
In a
Afton.
true
I love
masterpiece of
Afton.
poetry, she brought Vanessa over to be chief security officer at the Pizzaplex. A true family tradition to don the hat and badge, and all it took was a recommendation from the top as well as some emails marked for deletion. Sure, Vanessa didn't have relevant experience for the job, but when it comes directly from the CEO, does it really matter? Husband, son, daughter. A corpse, a robot, a human. All that was left was Michael. Poor, troubled Michael. The boy that
Aw.
killed her youngest.
Poor
The
Mike.
one that would
Poor
spend years
Michael.
trying to make his guilty conscience right again. A self-professed protector. While she knew she needed him to complete the family, something told her that the problem had already solved itself. Something had shifted when using Glamrock Freddy to excavate the buried pizza place.
I have been here before. I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path. I have changed.
I don't like
My
how he
friends
stares at me.
Are here, but I can
looks nice.
protect you.
They scare me. H&M scares me too.
Same. That's too expensive for a dress.
I work for Dracula.
I know.
I want to see this movie. It looks so silly.
Holy crap, it's Count Dracula.
It looks so silly.
Abuse. That's a no. As to you bring in
British Dracula.
No, not no.
Rated R. Only
Oh,
April
you're right.
14th.
They're British. Yo, I can go see that.
Heck yeah.
Maybe it was the remnant that had coursed through Michael's veins. Maybe it was the spirit of Michael living on as a protector. But he was there, somewhere inside of Glamrock Freddy. She could feel it. And just like that, she'd won. She'd done it. Sure, there were still some kinks to work out, some final brainwashing of Vanessa, some rehabilitation of William, but they were there. Finally,
Just a few
all
kinks.
together again under one roof. The Aftons reunited. A happy
Aw.
ending. And that's how it could have
Aw.
ended. That's how it should have ended, had it not been for a few unanticipated developments. For one, something was just wrong at
Troll
the
face.
Pizzaplex. Almost as if the entire building was haunted, possessed. Puppet plushies hiding on ceilings, behind crates, places that they had no
Boo.
earthly way of belonging. Staff bots with greasy tears down their eyes, acting like they were being puppeteered by some sort of a nightmare. Even their sounds had the echo of nightmares long past.
Hello.
It was as though a
Boo.
guardian spirit of the past refused to move on. As long as her husband was around, it too would linger. Only now, it wasn't just in one body, but it was in the essence of the building itself. She had seen stories of houses built on burial grounds getting possessed by angry spirits, but she'd never assumed that it could be real. Then again, in a world of living spirit metal and mind-controlling
bears are
glitches, who was she to be so judgmental? The whole thing was
Exactly.
ridiculous. Why would this be the line that she refused to cross? After all, the
feel
Pizzaplex
bad for
was
the bear
built
in the
over the
30s.
burial ground of angry spirits, but it was the power cords that finally convinced her that
Miss
something was
Afton
wrong.
is just
Suddenly,
insane.
these cords were striped black and white, like the security puppet from generations ago. The very foundations of this place, the materials and wires that constituted it, were rebelling against her, against the Aftons, against the quest to bring them all together again. And it was being helped by something else, something slithering through the building. Maybe they were
Spaghetti.
connected, she couldn't be sure, but a blob of living wires could be heard oozing through the walls, stealing pieces and parts of the old animatronics showcased in
I
Rockstar
love
Road.
Blob.
She could only assume that it was a byproduct of all the remnant they'd been collecting. From Afton's testing, she knew that both light and dark remnant existed, one of positive
Just like
emotions
Star
and
Wars.
the other created from anguish, anger, agony. Perhaps this thing was an amalgamation of all the darkest parts of the pizzeria's history.
The
A
thing.
collection of the
That's gonna
hatred
be the
still
thumbnail of the
housed
video.
inside these defunct endoskeletons
The
and exosuits.
thumbnail.
As long as it was left alone, it seemed to be harmless. But if any Afton outside of Michael got too close, it would lash out wildly. Even young Gregory, looking to punish the family that had been complicit in its horrible creation. Little did she know, though, that Gregory should have been her biggest concern. That bringing the family together would have some unforeseen consequences. Gregory was normally the
Yo,
goodest
just like
of boys.
G-Man.
She had literally built him that way. But lately, he'd been disappearing more and more often, disobeying her orders. Requests. She knew that he loved playing on the arcade machines once the Pizzaplex closed, being so good as to top the leaderboard on practically all of them. But
You ever Plants
lately,
vs.
he was nowhere to
Zombies?
be found. She suspected
Yeah, I
his
love
absence
Plant
had to do with
versus-
Glamrock Freddy's failed performance the other night, when he malfunctioned live on stage. Almost as though the core programming of Freddy responded to seeing this rebuilt small boy. Almost like it awakened something inside of him. She'd have to make sure that Vanessa was on the lookout for him. But she'd soon come to learn that Vanessa wasn't enough. Whether it was the influence of the nightmare puppet or a reawakened hatred of animatronics seated deep in Gregory's code, something had caused him to rebel. To rip apart each animatronic
Oh,
in a Pizzaplex.
no.
Bit by bit, this boy was tearing down the empire that she'd so painstakingly built, freeing Vanessa from her mind control, destroying the remains of Afton in the basement, setting Glamrock Freddy loose, as
God
her
dang
carefully
it.
created world
Why
crumbled
would
around
you
her
do
one
this,
more time.
Great
She
Gregory?
began to plot her revenge.
I
She
bet
would have
that
to
it's
bring
because of
them
his
all
shoes.
to
He just wanted
ruin.
his Converse
And there you have
for
it, my
like-
friends. Nearly a decade in the making, my Fnaf timeline for where the franchise is here in 2023.
Wow.
The year of Fazbear Frights, by the way.
What?
As always, it wouldn't be right for me to finish without going over some of the more controversial takes that I just handed out. I think we can all agree that this part of the timeline was always going to be the hardest. So let me just break down some of the major points. First of all, the biggest swing of this episode, and obviously the one that everything else rests upon, Mrs. Afton being the CEO of Fazbear Entertainment LLC. Here's why I went with this route. Now, first and foremost, the head of Fazbear Entertainment is the single biggest mystery that we're meant to solve at this point in the lore. The Ultimate Guide brings it up repeatedly. Who's running the show? Who is okaying these decisions? And in the security breach memos, we get multiple mentions of someone manipulating things from the top down. Whoever this is, they are the person driving forward every other facet of late-stage FNAF lore here. They're the puppet master who's hiring the indie dev. They're the ones relaunching the brand, building the Pizzaplex over the burial ground. So everything at the end of the timeline relies on this one
Literally
singular
everything.
answer. Now, as I see it, there are two possibilities here. One, an adult robot.
Show me the Carfax
I don't
value.
want
You'll get the
Carfax.
most accurate price based on the vehicle's accident history.
My
Don't
gosh.
you want
Elizabeth,
car
we see
Foxy?
older versions of
No, I
robot
don't
kids in the
want
fourth
Foxy.
closet, or Mrs. Afton. Could it be
Car
someone
chica.
completely new to the franchise? Absolutely yes, but in a game with so many returning faces and repeated themes, it would be pretty random and arbitrary. So, between these two girl bosses, who then would it be? Well, Elizabeth always wants to please her daddy, so she'd be most likely wanting to bring him to life. But then, what's Vanessa's role in all of this? Vanessa is clearly meant to be a parallel for Elizabeth. Same hair, same eyes, similar backstories, but if the main goal is getting the Afton family back back together, which seems to
Elizabeth
clearly be
is
the
a
case in
ginger.
Security
She's
Breach, then
not
there's no
blonde.
need for
She is
Vanessa
a
to be
ginger.
involved at all. We already
can
have
just
Elizabeth
dye her
running the show.
hair.
It would also mean that we suddenly have 2 robot kids running around, which feels narratively repetitive and quite frankly kind of dumb. Now look at Mrs. Afton. We know next to nothing about her outside of any clues that we can get from Immortal and the Restless and Bellora's song. But what her being head of Fazbear does is make every other piece of the lore fit. Suddenly, you can have one of every other type of character. One robot kid in Gregory, one brainwashed human in Elizabeth/Vanessa, one OG corpse in William, and one possessed animatronic in Mark.
One OG
Narratively,
corpse.
it makes everything else cleaner. Legally, it's also the option that makes the most sense. As I call out in my narrative, she'd likely have some stake in the original company and all of its assets. So as Fazbear folds as a company, I'd suspect a lot of it would
Maybe
return
should've
back to
eaten my
her. But
spaghetti.
there was
Maybe
one
it would've
clue
felt
that
better.
really sold me on this particular direction. And
Exactly.
that was this right here. In the post-it room, the big lore central of Security Breach, a dinner table scene with the whole family, including
dinner
the
table.
mother. And not only is she there, she is at the head of that table, the position of highest honor and responsibility. She is the one in charge, with William being relegated off to the side. That one scene shows that we have to include Mom in there somewhere, and the only place it makes sense for her to be is at the top. Now, there is one big dilemma with my interpretation of all this. The Ultimate Guide really seems to point out that the head of Fazbear doesn't want the glitch trap virus to spread. They call out one particular email in Fnaf AR where the legal team calls a cease and desist to all action about scanning the circuit boards. And even in FNAF VR, we're told that the circuit boards get stolen back by the client, presumably once they realize what danger is on there, trying to stop Glitch Trap before he spreads and gets out of hand. Here's the problem with that though, if the head of Fazbear doesn't want Afton to rise again, why'd they restart the company in the first place? Why'd they build over the FNAF 6 pizzeria? Why'd they go through an elaborate cover-up to make the possessed Vanessa an important part of the company? Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It would be the most inconsistent
anything
series
in
of actions ever,
FNAF
but I did want to call
at
attention
this
to it since
point.
it seems to be the route that the official guide is trying to steer us towards. Moving on to minor point number 1, the Five Nights at Freddy's games were made by the rogue indie developer. Here's the thing, FNAF VR opens with this line.
That's why we have recreated many of these completely fictitious scenarios, lies that you've been fed over the last several years, into a hilarious VR game.
It's recreating the lies
Lawsuits
told
pending.
to you by the indie developer. And since Help Wanted has direct recreations of FNAFs 1 through 3, it means the games must be part of the fabrications that this developer made up. Also, all of this is heavily
I love
implied in the story
fabrication.
of the same name, Help Wanted and Tales of the Pizzaplex, hence FNAF 1 through 3, canon games within the lore of the series. Big swing number 2, the elephant, or ghost in the room, Charlie infecting the Pizzaplex. John from the channel FNAF has made some great findings about Charlie's influence over the Pizzaplex. The cables that looked like the striped arms of the puppet, the Nightmarion plushies that you find hidden across the Pizzaplex in weird places, the staff bots with creepy smiles and in your dreams written on the front. All of these things scream puppets. Plus, with the puppet mask not having tears of the
should
blob, seems to imply that Charlie's spirit exists
blob.
elsewhere. She is still in play, and she has an important role, especially in Gregory's post-it room. The doors to the post-it room in the game's code are called Charlie doors, and inside we see a bunch of lit up nightmare staff bot heads. Suspicious, to say the least. The channel ID Fantasy did a great theory looking at the post-it notes, concluding that the crying child / Gregory isn't alone in this room, but rather might be communicating with someone. A spirit, Charlie. Charlie's spirit seems to have pulled a poltergeist. Instead of controlling one thing, she's affecting a lot of little details, foundational elements of the Pizzaplex. And this isn't the first time that we've seen this in the franchise either. We've seen spirits communicating with people through physical writing in the survival logbook. So we know that this is an established means of spirit communication within this franchise. And I suspect that to some extent it might be Charlie's influence making Gregory go haywire. Which brings me then to my final and probably biggest controversy in recent FNAF history, Gregory as Patient 46, the evil robot mastermind. Now, I know when I first came out with this theory a year ago, people were mad. But here's the thing, you don't have to take my evidence points for it anymore. The recent Tales from the Pizzaplex story, GGY, basically goes and just outright proves it. In GGY, we find out about a boy named Gregory who's getting all the high scores in the Pizzaplex arcade machine.
then
When
Ollie,
therapists start to go missing,
I
it's
wanna read
confirmed
this. It's
that
like, no, don't touch
GGY
it.
is the
I
one
need
that's
it.
working to bump them off. And when animatronics start getting corrupted by a mysterious glitch, GGY's letters are found.
I don't want Minecraft.
found inside the code. He even chooses the code name Dr. Rabbit, for crying out loud. But obviously, by the time of security breach, Gregory is working against Burntrap, Vanessa, and the animatronics. Why? How? Well, it's not really clear. I tend to believe that something must have
I
happened
think
to
we
cause
just
him to
need
either
to
lose his memory or
restart
be
FNAF
reset
at this
in
point.
some way. Maybe it was
Oh, you
Charlie
wanna
talking
restart
to him in
the
his post-it
series?
room. Maybe
Alright,
he
let's
hit
go
his
back
head.
to
Maybe it was the
video
connection that he
1.
made with Mike on stage
No.
in Glamrock Freddy. Not exactly sure, and I don't think we have enough clues to solve any of it yet. But it makes sense from a story perspective why he'd start off evil on Afton's side and then switch to trying to destroy him and not knowing who he is in Security Breach. And with that, my friends, I'm wrapping this thing up. Congratulations, we are on page 40. 22,000 words of FNAF, baby. Practically just wrote myself a Tales of the Pizzaplex short story. Have I answered everything? No. Does everything fit cleanly? No. But does it feel like the best and most cohesive narrative for all
Honestly,
these
I don't
characters that
remember what we
addresses
talked
most
about
of the evidence
2
we're
hours
given? Yeah,
ago.
for me, honestly, it really
We
does. So
talked
let's be honest with
about
ourselves, the DLC will probably come out later this year and
Afton's
prove me
elevators,
completely wrong. Wouldn't be the first
and
time.
also
Then
Hillary
comes the movie,
Clinton
whatever.
stepping
My
down
descent to
from a
madness
role in the
continues.
Soviet
But
Union.
regardless, I am so proud of this. This was a massive
I haven't
undertaking. And I'm so
streamed like
proud
this
of
in a
our
long
editors who have
time.
just destroyed the editing across all 4 of
Oh
these
my-
installments. You guys are
What's
the
your
best. Thank you for pushing
I
through
don't know.
on 20 plus
Yeah.
minute uploads.
Alright,
You are unreal.
thank you for watching though. We have come to the end. Actually, we have another minute. Or I don't know that time. I'm not doing math. Yeah, enjoy. Have a great day, evening, afternoon, whatever.
I'm going to go collapse in my bed now.
Yo, same. Adios.
Why did I agree to this? I regret everything.
What, you didn't enjoy the last 2 hours and 47 minutes of FNAF?
Oh,
Lord?
I did. I still regret it, but I enjoyed it.
Yo, I love that. Mario, Luigi, and the donkey. I'm gonna end the stream. Bye!
I'm dead.